This is going to be a fun show. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Boy, is this one already being throttled right out the fucking gate, bro. Right out the fucking gate. I don't know fuck. I'm almost at the point where it's like, should I even do this show? Should I reschedule it and try it again? And maybe next time YouTube will share it out. So I'm not even going to do anything until I see concurrent viewers actually start people actually show up to the fucking show. Jesus Christ, bro. Like nobody wants to talk about the biggest news in the world right now. Nobody wants to talk about it. What's up, everybody? Tucker has gone insane. No, MFG. I'm sorry, bro. It's not Tucker that's gone insane. One of the worst things you can do when you run a country is to start a stupid war, bro. Okay? And calling out the starting of a stupid war is not going insane. MFG, I love you, bro, but I don't know. Some of you guys are not going to figure this out until gas is like $10 a gallon. Maybe then you'll be like, oh shit, we shouldn't have done this. I don't know. Some of you don't believe it yet. They're literally we're hitting Iran's oil facilities. Israel is. Apparently Trump was okay with it, but now he's not okay with it. So Iran turns around and starts hitting other people's. Dude, this is going to be a fucking disaster. Unless like it stopped right now. Even if it stopped right now, just like trying to revamp all of the oil production is going to take a while. So, yeah. I don't know. Just I guess you guys are going to have to wait and see, bro. Oh, maybe I'm wrong, but common sense is usually not wrong, and this is going to be a disaster. Joe Kent, to be honest, a character fleeing a sinking ship. If it was going smooth despite chaos, death, and legality, he'd say nothing. I think that's I don't like the saying fleeing a sinking ship as if he's like running away. I think he's doing the right thing. And if we saw more people do this instead of just being Trump, dick suckers, it would be like, hey, this is not the MAGA agenda. This is not what I signed up to. I'm going to resign. Good luck. Hopefully you guys figure this shit out because you're acting like idiots. That would be great. I think that would be maybe something that would wake Trump up. But no, everybody's just kissing his ass. The reports are saying that, like, you can't even talk to him if you have anything negative to say. Like, you'll get kicked out of the circle. The accusations that Kent was leaking, I think, is, like, probably bullshit. I think what happened was they really quickly got anybody out of the equation, right? Out of the conversation, who was not going to just be all hardcore for Israel, hardcore for the war in Iran and backing up Israel in that. And yeah, they just fucking, oh, he's leaking, whatever. Just get him out of the meetings because he's not gonna do what we want. And yeah, this is why we're where we're at, because Trump is just listening to people who don't have the best interest in this for this country, and who just never seen a war that they don't like. It's crazy. I jump off MAGA in 2019. Yeah, well, at this point, 2020 should have been when I jumped off after COVID, bro. COVID was like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? You're falling for the trap. And here he is again. And it's, I mean, look, I don't know how you guys don't understand how, even if we stop this right now, we're going to still see inflation. We're still going to see oil prices go up. If we continue this, it's going to be insane, bro. It's going to be insane. And it's going to affect every single one of you and your ability to survive and pay for gas. It's going to be it's going to be bad, dude. I mean, I don't know. People just, I don't know. I guess it takes a long time for people to fucking see the reality on the wall, man. God bless you. So yeah, I figured, you know what? We'll watch a lot of this interview because I think it's very important to hear what the hell Joe Kent has to say. And it just
we want to start tonight with
this just came out. FYI, if you want to go watch it, it's also on YouTube. You can go to Tucker Carlson's channel to watch it. So you don't have to listen to me. Okay. For all of you who do not know how to search the internet, just go to Tucker Carlson. Okay. Type in Tucker Carlson on the YouTube thingy. And you can also get it on X. He also posted it on X. We'll be watching the X version. Let's skip. I think it's like 19 minutes is where Joe Kent comes in and the interview starts. So let's just get right to it. Hello, everybody. Links are in the description if you want to support the show. Please smash the thumbs up because, I don't know, maybe the thumbnail's not hitting. Maybe the AI recreation of my face is pissing everybody off, but it's like, I don't know, some of the lowest shit I've seen right from the bat. As soon as I scheduled this video, usually I get people waiting, and it was nobody, like one person waited the whole time until finally, like, the time hit, and then it was like 5 people waiting. So I don't know what the fuck's going on. But yeah, smash the thumbs up, and yeah, it's gonna be a chill one. I'm just gonna sit here. We're gonna listen to Joe. We're gonna have our reactions, and we're gonna see what he has to say.
Here's Joe Kent. Joe, thanks a lot for joining us. So I appreciate this. So I want to go through the letter that you sent yesterday as you resigned as director of the National Counterterrorism Center.
At Hypnaudio Stream super chatted $4.99. I personally love the show. Keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to keep doing it, Hypnaudio. Thank you for the $5. I'd like to keep doing it. I enjoy doing the show as well. So yeah, there's no plans to stop doing the show, but it does get frustrating sometimes. Thank you for the $5, Hypnaudio.
Basically for the big
Thank you,
points
brother.
and give you a chance to explain them. You've been spoken for quite a bit over the last 24 hours, so I think it'd be really helpful to all of us if you would speak for yourself and flesh out some of these points. I'm just going to read the first one. I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. How did you reach that conclusion?
I think this is key. I mean, this would be more challenging to explain had the Secretary of State, the President, and the Speaker of the House not come out and said that we conducted this attack at this time because the Israelis were about to do so.
Yeah, and then if you say that, you're anti-Semitic, and it's like, you literally said that.
So that takes away the argument that there was an imminent threat, as in Iran was planning to attack us immediately. That just simply did not exist.
May I ask you to pause? Sure. And so I've heard people say that, and this just happened, but history has a way of getting rewritten in real time.
And then you super chatted $5. I love PINGTR1P.
Well, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate the support. Thank you.
Look back.
It's not a you guys thing. It's a, I don't know, dude. I mean, don't take it personally. I'm just looking and going, well, fuck. Where's everybody at? You know, you get used to, like, I usually have like 15 to 20 people waiting for the show, you know, once we get close to it. And it's like, was like 7 people. And that was like when the show's supposed to start. I'm like, what the fuck's happening here? I thought this was a topic people were fucking interested in, but no, I guess not.
$4.99. Much love.
Thank you, CyberTwitch. Much love to you guys too as well. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support, guys.
10 or 15, 20, 25 years later. And no one seems to understand the things that you saw because they've been eliminated. Yeah. So I think it's important to stop and say, here's what we actually know. So I'd like now, if we could, just to play one of the statements that you alluded to, and that's from Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State. And this was shortly after this war commenced. And he was explaining, as is his habit.
At L_Yefa-67 super chatted $10. You're by boy ping.
Thank you, El Jefe. I'm pretty old to be a boy, but I understand what you're saying. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the super chats. It's very much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thoughtful, precise way.
Yep. Thank you, El Jefe. You rock, brother.
Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
So yeah, but then if we say Israel drew us into this, then we're anti-Semitic. And it's literally coming from fucking Marco Rubio himself.
Okay,
Insane.
So that is his almost contemporaneous explanation, and it's not offhand. He reasons it out. He explains there's a logic chain there, and he says, we knew not that Iran was going to attack. He did not say that.
Right.
He said we knew that Israel was going to attack Iran, and in retaliation for those attacks by Israel against Iran, Iran might attack American forces. So the imminent threat that the Secretary of State is describing is not from Iran, it's from Israel.
Exactly. And I think this speaks to the broader issue. Who is in charge of our policy in the Middle East? Who is in charge of when we decide to go to war or not? In this case, with what the Secretary described, and later on the President, later on the Speaker of the House, and the way the events played out, the Israelis drove the decision to take this action, which we knew would set off a series of events, meaning the Iranians would retaliate. Now, I think there's a potential there where we could have done several different things. We could have simply said to the Israelis, no, you will not. And if you do, then we will take something away from you. I think that it's fine that we offer defense to Israel. But when we're providing the means for their defense, we get to dictate the terms of when they go on the offensive. Otherwise, they stand to lose that relationship. And the Israelis felt emboldened that no matter what they did, no matter what situation they put us in, that they could go ahead and take this action, and we would just have to react. And so that speaks to that relationship. But also, it just shows that there was a lobby pushing for us to go to war. I know we'll get into that later on in the statement, but we had a real potential, I think, knowing what we know of the Iranians and how they react, and in particular, how they react to President Trump's leadership. The Iranians, under President Trump's leadership, especially in his second term, they have shown that they take a very calculated approach to the escalation ladder. For instance, in the lead up to the 12-day war before Midnight Hammer, the Iranians didn't attack us. They were engaged in negotiations with us. When President Trump came back into office, they stopped their proxies who were attacking us under the Biden administration because they knew Biden was weak. They stopped their proxies from attacking us as well. So they knew President Trump was someone who wanted to negotiate, but more importantly, they knew that President Trump was not someone to mess with because he killed Qasem Soleimani. He killed Abu Mahdi Mohandas. He had defeated ISIS. They knew that President Trump was a man of action. He is militarily strong. And so they said, before we take an action, we need to make sure that it's calculated. So I think in this scenario, even if the Israelis told us we're going to strike on this date at this time, and we didn't, try to negotiate with the Israelis and say, hey, we'll take something away from them, I think we still could have back-channeled to the Iranians and said, hey, if something happens here in the next couple of days, it's not us. We're still serious about negotiations, and we don't want to escalate.
Bro, I literally said that. He's saying the exact same thing I said yesterday. Because people are like, well, we had no choice because no, we actually did have a choice. We could have condemned Israel and been like, hey, this is not the proper way. We don't approve of this. We want to diplomatically deal with this and reach out to Iran and be like, hey, this is Israel. We told them not to do it. This is not us. And we probably could have avoided retaliation against us. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, that's exactly what I said yesterday. I like this guy. Joe Kent, 2028.
Because it's well known what the Iranians' plans were. We knew that they were going to hit potentially our bases in the region, potentially our.
By the way, I just saw this video earlier. Let me pull this up real quick. This is what our allies doing right now. Our allies out here fucking in Lebanon, which, by the way, Lebanon's like outlawed Hezbollah. Like they're doing everything they can to please Israel, and they're out here striking fucking residential buildings, dude. They're pulling 9/11s on residential buildings, bro. That's our ally, dude. That's who I want to be allies. But yeah, that's gonna solve. It's gonna fix the war. It's gonna end the war right there. Let's take down a residential building. What the fuck are they doing, bro? That's insane to me. Sorry, I had to sidetrack there because that's fucking nuts, dude.
Allies, we knew about the Straits of Hormuz, all of these things.
Oh, but there was one Hezbollah guy who was in the basement, so we had to take it all out.
I think we're fairly well known.
And the Houthis' ability to close the Red Sea, which they've not yet done, but which would be catastrophic to the world.
Everybody knows somebody who has had an unexpected tragedy. You lose a parent, a spouse, and that person.
Talking about World War III, the destruction of our American economy. And yeah, we got to have an ad, okay? That's important. Can't miss the ads.
The financing, it off easy minutes, questions, $30 sentiment is no you with like good
more on this more so people. So, but for the purpose of explaining your position or fleshing it out more so people can understand it, because you're the most high-profile resignation by far in a long time, and there's a lot of commentary on this. And I kind of took a quick trip through it this afternoon, and one of the consistent themes is, well, I mean, of course, there's a lot of slander, which we can talk about, but the substantive attack on you, and it is an attack or refutation of your letter, is that, well, actually, Joe Kent was totally for using military action. He supported the Soleimani killing, for example.
I'm looking at I'm looking at myself in the monitor, and I'm like, why is half of my chair missing? And it's like, yeah, I put my white shirt over. It's like, what the fuck? What is going on? Did I green screen out my chair? That was tripping me out.
He seemed fine with the 12-day war for example. So he doesn't have a problem on principle with an engagement with Iran. You're saying what to that? What's your response?
Well, I have no compunction about really fighting anybody who threatens our country, and the Iranians have posed a threat in the past, and the Iranians have a way of threatening America. They have the capability, and we always talk in the intelligence circles about capability and intent, what your enemy is capable of doing and what they actually want to do. And again, back to the data that we have on the Iranians, they use the escalation ladder. We saw that deliberately during the 12-day war. When they struck back after Midnight Hammer, it was very deliberate. They fired an equal amount of missiles as we dropped bombs on the nuclear facilities, and they basically hit a part of a base in Qatar that they knew we didn't have any troops on.
Yes.
They didn't want to escalate any further than we were willing to go. But also, the Iranians, when they pose a threat to us, they usually do it with their proxies. And if their proxies stick their heads up and their proxies come after us, this is basically the Trump doctrine, we hammer them and we hammer their high-profile leaders. Qasem Soleimani was highly effective and highly revered in Iran because the previous presidents, prior to President Trump, Obama and Bush, let Qasem Soleimani run around, raise proxy armies, kill Americans, and no one ever did anything to him. President Trump rightfully killed Qasem Soleimani. We got his deputy, Abu Mahdi Mohandas, who had American blood in his hands, took them off the battlefield. But then President Trump stopped. He took those two key players off the battlefield, and he said, I'm not going to further escalate with Iran unless you escalate with us, knowing that if we struck Iran and we truly struck the regime, that would only strengthen the regime. So then President Trump did something that's incredibly smart, used that decisive military action, but then he coupled it with an economic package of sanctions, maximum pressure sanctions. And we can debate whether or not we should be using sanctions as the prime reserve currency holder or whatever, but he pressured the Iranians economically after punching them in the mouth and showing that, hey, I won't take this. I'm not Obama. I'm not Bush. If you cross a line, I will come after you. But then he really put the pressure on them economically. And if you look at the effect of the economic sanctions, that's what got the Iranian people on the streets actually protesting against the Ayatollah's government, which is ostensibly what we would like. We would like to see a bottom-up regime change where we get rid of the Ayatollah, but it's the will of the people, and they have a new successful government that's stable that we can deal with. The one way to throw that all out the window, and this isn't just Joe Kent's opinion, many scholars, and I think a lot of intelligence assessments have been written about this too, I know for a fact they have, is that if we struck the regime, it would only strengthen it. And that's not, I think that's just basic common sense.
Yes, I was about to say, that's just fucking common sense. You don't need some degree in fucking some bullshit to understand that. It's like you have to put yourself in their shoes. Imagine us, America, and we're getting the same treatment from another country. Imagine some country was causing you to barely be able to get gas and not be able to afford food because some country on the other side of the world put sanctions on you. And then they start bombing you and fucking murdering your leaders and murdering people. And you're like, huh. Yeah, I don't really like my regime, but this is my country and my people are being killed, so I'm going to rally around my people. It's just fucking common sense, dude.
I think of myself, and probably you're in this camp as well. We didn't like Joe Biden, we didn't like Barack Obama, but if an outside force were to come in here and try and topple them while they were the president,
it's vanilla scented candle, by the way.
Flag.
Thank you for
That's
noticing.
just common sense. So if we wanted to strengthen,
well, you actually did. You joined the military under Bill Clinton,
under
whom
Clinton.
I assume you didn't vote for.
Right.
Right. You joined in 1998. You've gone the whole cycle of the war on terror, I notice, and served out as an NCO. I think your entire
NCO and warrant officer.
Yeah, warrant officer, 20 years. And I should just say, I hate ever to refer to a man's resume as like a data point because your ideas exist separately. But in this specific case, meaning you spend most of your time fighting Iranian proxies.
Yeah, a good deal of it, yeah.
Yeah. So you're aware of the threat from Iran. You have personally used violence against that threat.
I have.
Yeah. A lot of it, I think. And you supported the president's policy up until fairly recently.
Right.
And you've said that a lot in public. In fact, you went to work for him. He hired you.
Yeah.
Right. But here's from what I can tell is the central question. Imminent threat. Now, the president has said many times to many people, including the public, Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. I'm sure he must have said that to you. You don't have to say it. But he said it to everybody. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. They can't have a nuke. Whenever asked, we say, let's just start here. They can't have a nuke. Okay, got it. Everyone agreed with that conceptually. Was Iran on the verge of getting a nuclear weapon?
No, they weren't, 3 weeks ago when this started, and they weren't in June either. I mean, the Iranians have had a religious ruling, a fatwa, against actually developing a nuclear weapon since 2004. That's been in place since 2004.
Some people refuse to believe that, though. Like, oh, that's just propaganda. Obviously, they're lying. Obviously, then why has it been so long and they don't have a nuclear weapon? You're telling me Iran couldn't have figured out how to develop a nuclear weapon when they were like 1 week away 30 years ago?
That's available in the public sphere, but then also we had no intelligence.
Yes, Israel has nukes, Franz Paskov. Yes, and they it's a secret nuke program. They never admit that they have them, but they do, right? Something like
to
that.
Indicate that fatwa was being disobeyed or it was on the cusp of being lifted. The Iranian strategy, it's actually pretty pragmatic. The Iranians are obviously aware of what's taking place in their region, and their strategy was to not completely abandon their nuclear program because they saw what happened to Muammar Gaddafi in Libya when he said, hey, I've got no more nukes. I'll do what you say. I'll give up my nukes.
And we gave him the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah, we regime changed him, and he was executed by his own people. And
that's, to me, the real fear of Iran getting nukes is that, all of a sudden, if Iran gets nukes, we can't fucking be our little warmongering bully in the Middle East and go around blowing whatever the fuck we want up. That's the real fear.
Most horrific way.
Sodomized by a bayonet, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's that's the lesson I think that the entire region took from that when Hillary Clinton.
Unfortunately, that is what the neocon, neoliberal warmongers. That's the lesson that they showed everyone in the region. And then conversely, the Iranians also knew that if they came out and said, "Okay, we've got a nuke," whether they were bluffing or not, Saddam Hussein, Iraq right next door. So they kind of had this.
Hung, I think.
He was hung by his own people, after a bloody, war that's still essentially going on inside of Iraq. So the Iranians' position, when viewed from the lens of the region, was actually fairly pragmatic. They were preventing, themselves from developing a bomb, but they still wanted the ability. They wanted the ability.
I don't give a fuck if you're CIA, you're fucking Adolf Hitler's nephew. I don't give a fuck if you're a Freemason. If you're against the fucking stupid warmongering that's going to fucking only hurt the average American citizen, then yeah, I praise you, bro. Praise you. I don't give a fuck if you're a woke leftist, bisexual, fucking them, they. If you're against the Iran war, we can come together on that specific thing. And I can ignore it. We can go, after we stop the warmongering, we can get back to fighting about how stupid you are. But right now, this has to take precedence over everything.
Ability to enrich. They wanted the ability to have some components so that they weren't completely stripped of it. And when we always assessed that they were either several months or a year, 2 years away from actually being able to develop a nuclear weapon. And that's not because the Iranians are stupid people. I think we can tell right now that the Iranians are anything but stupid. They had the ability, I think, that the brain power to actually develop one, or they could have simply traded a ton of oil with Pakistan or with someone else to actually get a nuclear weapon. They were not doing that. We had no intelligence to indicate that they were.
Then why was the president, was he told that they were on the brink of it? Why at the beginning of every conversation about Iran would the president say, I don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? Why was that the central question when, and you would know since you were the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, why would he say that if there was no intelligence or evidence that they were actually developing a nuke?
So a couple things. This is what I talk about in the letter about this ecosystem of information that's laundered through a lot of prominent neoconservative types that are very sympathetic to the Israeli cause, and then also Israeli government officials who give us things in semi-official channels. What they did was they created basically a shifting red line or a new red line. So if the president's red line was Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, we've actually got a lot of trade space in there for a deal to be made because of what I just described with the Iranian policy. Essentially, the Iranians saying, okay, well, we don't want a nuclear weapon. Well, that means we basically are at a point where we can start negotiating and we can come up with a deal. And the president is a fantastic deal maker. So if your goal is to move us away from any kind of deal and your goal is to move us into a conflict, you have to shift that red line. And that's where a lot of this I would say, what became a de facto U.S. policy of Iran can have no nuclear enrichment. It was laundered through a lot of the different talking heads, Mark Levin, Mark Dubowitz. You've got the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, you name it. Washington, D.C. has plenty of pro-Israeli lobbyists who will come and say those things, who will publish think pieces on it, who will go on the media, who will run, op-eds in the Wall Street Journal to talk about this, why they can't have any enrichment whatsoever. And then we have a high degree of engagement with Israeli government officials who will come in and say, well, they're enriching and they could enrich, or they could enrich more, and that will get them closer to a nuclear weapon. So then enrichment basically became the new U.S. policy. And the only official I've heard, and folks are welcome to look for this, that said this in the first Trump administration was Mike Pompeo. He said it. The president didn't say it. The president has been very consistent. He said they can't have a nuclear weapon. But again, like I said, that puts us at a place where we actually could have negotiations. And only President Trump, I think, could successfully have negotiations with Iran because he actually...
At MFN Damien super chatted $10. I left watching this episode to come here once I got your live notification. Much love, King Ping. No homo, though.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, definitely no homo, bro. Thank you, man. I appreciate you choosing this.
Punch them in the face. Thank you for the 10, brother. The Iranians had been walking all over us. They had been killing our soldiers. All of that is true. I have no sympathy whatsoever for the Iranians, what their proxies were doing. President Trump level set that when he killed Qasem Soleimani and he killed Abu Mahdi Mohandas. The folks who wanted to push an actual regime change war in Iran knew this, and they knew there was a potential to get a deal, or there was a potential for President Trump just to continue the policy of maximum pressure sanctions, and if you come after us, we will hit you hard. And that got the protesters out on the street in Iran, and that's actually what the regime feared the most. I don't think the Ayatollah feared dying, not because he, is some crazy lunatic. I'm sure some degree of the Shia martyrdom culture played a factor in that. However, I think he knew that if he was killed, the regime would survive because the people would rally around the regime.
Well, there's been a lot of
It's crazy. I wonder if he would go to bed thinking about what happened to Gaddafi. It's like, oh, dude, what happened to Gaddafi is no one wants to die that way, bro. That's got. If I was the leader of a country like that, and I had the potential of going out like Gaddafi, yeah, that would be my biggest fear.
I believe you predicted this
that was just
some years ago. I think we're watching. I mean, it's hard to know exactly what we're watching, but it seems consistent with what we are watching. So I'm just focused on this question of imminent threat because that's really the only justification I think most Americans would accept for a preemptive war.
Certainly.
Otherwise, just like a war of choice done because Bibi told you to, and no one wants to get behind that because it's obviously illegitimate.
And this was always the fear. Trump surrounded himself by a bunch of neocons. Marco Rubio, neocon. I mean, and then essentially all of his advice, all of his decision making is filtered through this neocon lens, and they just got him to do this stupid shit. And this is, again, if he doesn't wake up, there are reports that he's getting pissed off with Netanyahu. I don't know how true that is, but like Trump and Netanyahu might be having a falling out. And I hope that's fucking true. I hope that's true because, I mean, it's bad now, but if we stopped right now, we're like, okay, that's it. We're done. We're out of here. Israel, you're on your own. You want to keep doing that shit, whatever. We're going to try to, do some diplomacy and figure out the way forward. That would be the best solution long-term to avoid even more suffering coming down the pipeline. But fuck, man. This was always my fear with Trump. And then the first administration, I was like, man, he did put too many neocons around him. But they didn't have the influence that they have now. Now it's like, it's essentially neocons running the country. And this is not what we voted for.
So imminent.
Thank you, Jet.
Jet4804 super chatted $1.99. Thanks for the show.
Thank you, Jet. I appreciate it, brother. You're welcome.
Threat. You're saying that there was no intelligence that you saw with the highest level clearance, obviously involved in this conversation, that showed an imminent threat from Iran to the United States? None.
No, unless we took certain actions, unless we came after them in a way that they thought threatened the regime. Then we basically knew what they were going to do.
Well, okay,
what
but
they're doing.
right, of course.
Right, but like any country. So if you attack any country, we know that they're going to have a reaction.
We face an imminent threat once we attack you.
Fantastic. Yeah, exactly. But there was no intelligence that said, hey, on whatever day it was, March 1st, the Iranians are going to launch this big sneak attack. They're going to do some kind of a 9/11 Pearl Harbor, et cetera. They're going to attack one of our bases. There was none of that intelligence. Again, back to what we know about the Iranians, they're very, very deliberate with the escalation ladder. And again, they're only deliberate under President Trump's leadership because they knew and they took President Trump very, very seriously.
So, I mean, I just think it's a remarkable thing to nail down because you're not some guy on Twitter. You're a senior, as of yesterday, you were a senior U.S. Intelligence official who's not hostile to President Trump, who's not going to here to write a tell-all book or launch a media career. So I think you're a sober voice on this. And just to be clear, there was no intelligence that showed an imminent threat. There was no intelligence that showed they were on the cusp of building a nuclear weapon. There was no intelligence, indeed, that showed they were trying to build a nuclear weapon. And nobody said, I've seen it, but you haven't. It exists, but you just haven't seen it. Did you ever hear anybody say there is intel that shows this?
I did not know. But I know how this works. I know the Israeli officials, some in intelligence, some in government, will come to U.S. government officials, and they will say all kinds of things that we know from our intelligence just simply isn't true. And they'll say, hey, I'm giving you a preview. It's not in intelligence channels yet, but here's what's going to happen. And that doesn't usually come to
Wait a second. I mean, I thought that U.S.
policymakers
made their decisions on the basis of intelligence collected and or vetted by our intelligence. That's why we have intelligence agencies that soak up hundreds of billions a year.
And there's rumors going around that Israel is actively doing whatever it can to keep us from being able to pull back, right? So like anybody that we might be able to fucking have a discussion within Iran that might be able to work out a deal where we can stop this, dead, immediately dead. Blowing up. I mean, Israel's the one that hit fucking Iran's, I forget which oil field, but it's like the biggest oil field in the world. And it's like, bro, like you're kind of like this, you're going after the civilian population now. Like you're I don't know. I just don't understand the strategy other than like, they just want terrible things to happen to everybody. Cause that's what's going to happen, dude. I don't know. We got to stop. I'm sorry, like Israel, I don't think we can be your ally anymore, dude. Good luck. Okay, you have fun over there. I think we'd be better off condemning Israel at this point than Iran. That's how I feel.
But you're saying that Israeli officials short-circuited the entire U.S. government and just went right to American policymakers and said, it doesn't matter what your country says, here's what we know? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, usually they're pretty slick, and they'll say, hey, this isn't in intelligence channels yet because it's going to take some time to get there. And here they're on the cusp of building a bomb. You know, they're going to, I don't know, you pick your topic. A lot of times they'll sample different things until they find what sticks. But in general, the narrative about, you know, they're going to do a preemptive attack, or really just they're going to build a nuclear weapon. And if we don't stop them now, they're going to build a nuclear weapon. And enrichment is the pathway to that. They're going to continue enriching at whatever percent. Enrichment became the narrative. And so that hung up and that short-circuited and really sabotaged the entire negotiations, because the Iranians basically said, like, we're not going to negotiate if the whole starting point is no enrichment. And again, that had nothing to do with a nuclear weapon, and the Iranians essentially agreed to that. So the Israelis came in, they moved that red line, and they would do a lot to say, like, oh, they're enriching, and you know what that means? That means in X amount of time they could have a nuclear bomb. You have to ask now. And then the way the ecosystem would work is that the talking heads on TV, you know, your Mark Levin's, Sean Hannity's, et cetera, they would say basically the exact same thing that night on TV, or there would be.
Yes, dude, the 7K stop coming in, one who sees. Shut the fuck up, you fucking retard. I've always been clear. Every time Israel has tried to drag us into a fucking war, I've always had a problem with that. I don't give a fuck about Israel. I don't think about Israel until they drag us into fucking wars. Then I'm like, fuck Israel. They're not our ally when they drag us into shit like this. But I'm not obsessed with Israel like some of you guys, where it's like all you think about. And like, I get it. We were right. Yeah, a lot of you guys that were fear-mongering over all this shit and Israel's going to drag us into war, like, yeah, you were right. But some of you are still fucking retarded And you hurt people that criticize Israel and their policies and their warmongering more than you help them, because you legitimize all the anti-Semitic claims by being Israel, Jews, 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 Jews. So fuck you and your 7K bullshit. Go suck a dick.
A piece written in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, that would say,
if you guys weren't so retarded, more people would listen to you.
Something very, very similar. Yet,
but you're retarded.
You looked in classified intelligence, we didn't see any of that.
I mean, that must have been such a weird experience for you.
Bizarre.
Since you have
Stevie super chatted $5. Israel is looking to do to the Middle East what the Covenant in Halo did to Reach. That's what I see.
Well, I got to play Halo.
Have access.
I don't know the Halo references. Thank you for the 5, Crump.
To the biggest and most
I was
powerful,
never a fan of Halo.
The best intel agencies in the world. And you're seeing people say things as fact when you know that they're not facts.
Right.
What was that like?
Infuriating. And I think that's why, in general, in the lead up to this last iteration, a good deal of key decision makers were not allowed to come express their opinion to the president.
Not allowed by whom?
I think it's important for me right now just to stay on the facts. I don't want to point names. I don't want this to become a name calling or this guy did this on this day.
But any leader has gatekeepers, and so you're saying that you were prevented from bringing this information directly to the president by gatekeepers.
Well, there wasn't a robust debate. So in general, because our assessment really hadn't changed, we would send those up through intelligence channels. Everybody's kind of reading the same intelligence, but then what actually gets briefed to the president can be very, very different depending on who and how it's delivered. And without a level set from the intelligence community, someone like D&I Gabbard coming in and saying, Mr. President, like, here's the full scope of the intelligence. And what it means, you're kind of lacking that sanity check of where we're at, or at least a good sampling, to gauge how accurate what the Israelis are saying is. And that process, in my view.
No, how about we just stop listening to them? They've already burned us. They're already proven to lie. They already dragged us into the war. They already got us in this disaster. Maybe one of the good things about this will be like, okay, everybody will wake up. Maybe at some point Trump will have an epiphany and be like, oh, Israel fucked me. Israel lied to me. Israel destroyed my entire presidency. And then he'll just be like, I don't know, maybe start fucking making changes and be like, Israel, you're getting kicked out. You have no voice. Netanyahu, fuck you. We're going to put sanctions on Israel next. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
Was largely stifled in this second iteration. There was robust debate and robust discussions leading up to the 12-day war into Midnight Hammer. But this second round, to me, and I'm sure others will refute this and disagree with me, but what was conducted by just a handful of small of advisors around the president.
That is true. I believe what you're saying is true. My sense, though, and you would know more than I, is there weren't a lot of people directly around the president who work there, who work at the White House, the principals, who are making an aggressive case for this war. Do you think was there a majority of like his top 10 advisors who were saying we must do this now?
I think the circle that was around him was very, very tight and very small. And I think they were all on the same sheet of music.
Yeah, and I think anybody like Joe Kent here, who tried to insert some fucking hesitancy over starting another stupid fucking foreign war for Israel, they basically went to Trump and were like, oh, this guy's the leaker. They just started bad-mouthing Joe Kent, so Joe Kent would have no influence, would have no way of having any influence on Trump whatsoever. And they basically cornered Trump with their little Israel First MEGA crowd. And walked us into a war. Congratulations. Ted Cruz is so happy right now. He's so happy. And you know what? A lot of these people, I guarantee you, Ted Cruz does not like Trump. Lindsey Graham does not like Trump. They're using him, and they're going to laugh and smile as Trump destroys his legacy. They're going to be like, they're probably sitting there on phone calls behind the scenes like, yeah, Trump's a big fucking idiot. Just kiss his ass and tell him everything's great, and then he'll do anything you tell him. He's such a retard. And they talk to, they go, Mr. Trump, you're the greatest president of all time. And then off the, behind the scenes, he's so stupid. He falls for everything. They don't like you, Trump. They're using you, you retard.
And I think a lot of them were getting their information from the ecosystem that I described. And I think we'd be in a different place if we would have talked about the actual what the intelligence picture is and what our interest
So
is.
Israeli government talking points laundered through Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. Is that the ecosystem you're talking about?
Yeah, and then the Israeli officials coming in and basically either ahead of time or after the fact saying the same thing, like the enrichment is going to get them a nuclear bomb in a set amount of time.
Do you believe that you and the DNI, for whom you worked until yesterday, had as much FaceTime with the president as Israeli officials did?
I don't know. I don't know that for sure because I don't know exactly how frequently the Israelis were engaging directly with the president. It did seem like Benjamin Netanyahu.
Tulsi had a weird fucking she's just Tulsi's sounding like a fucking neocon now too. She's like Russia and North Korea and Pakistan, they all have missiles that can shoot us, and it's like, oh great, so now you're fear mongering. So I guess it's almost sounding like they're setting up the next World War III, where it's going to be Pakistan, Russia, China, North Korea versus us, and who else? Because nobody wants to fight. Everybody hates us. What's our coalition going to be? Us and Israel? Fucking, I hate this. I hate where we're going, dude. I really do.
Was, obviously that was all public that he was in the White House.
7 times.
Quite a bit, yeah, quite a bit. And then his other officials as well, Dermer, et cetera, those guys were in, they were making phone calls, just a lot of engagement from them. And again, when we would hear, or you'd hear what they were saying, it didn't reflect in intelligence channels, even intelligence that we shared with the Israelis, that the Israelis were giving us in many cases. So there was a clear, gap between, the intelligence and then the information that the president was given and the decisions that the president was making.
I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable position. Obviously, you're not going to divulge anything that's classified. I don't think you would. You definitely shouldn't, because there are people who hurt you for that, and you shouldn't.
Yeah, they're going to try to lock this guy up. Of all the people, right? Like, we're going to go after the deep state. Oh, we're going to lock up Hillary Clinton. We didn't even do shit to the people that were assaulting our ICE officers in the streets with mobs, who were following around like a little insurgency ICE and fucking trying to like get them hurt, and we didn't do anything to them. Oh, but this guy who's a fucking America First guy who speaks out against war, yeah, we're going to go after him and lock him up because he doesn't support the war. Fuck, dude. It's completely lost the plot, dude. Completely lost the plot.
Without encouraging you to do that, I think it's a commonplace. It's understood in Washington. I've heard from many people who work in your business that a substantial portion of our information touches Israel at some point. Either it's collected by them, it is shaped by them. It's not purely American. Do you think it's fair? Especially
in the Middle East, I would say. I mean, look, the Israelis are tactically very proficient.
Yes.
They have a very competent intelligence service. And there's a lot that we can learn from them in the craft of intelligence.
Yes.
So they're very proficient. They're very good. However, whenever we get information from a liaison service, I think it's incredibly important to realize that it could be given to us to influence us as well as to inform us. And the way that I would see Israeli information, in particular coming from senior officials directly to our senior officials, that caveat just wasn't given frequently enough. And there's a lot of times.
So essentially, Trump is listening to Israeli intelligence over our own intelligence. Yeah, it does feel like we've been conquered by another tiny little country in the Middle East called Israel. It does seem like they're running our country. That's what it feels like right now. It seemed ridiculous to me. And I still feel like if you want to solve that, you have to address the idiots that are running our country, that are allowing themselves to be fucking controlled by another country's foreign policy and intelligence. But it sure seems like the decision making right now is like Israel is actually deciding what we do. It does feel that way, and it's fucking crazy.
Some of this is just because of bureaucratic practice.
But yeah, this guy's just an anti-Semite. No, he wasn't just the head of the counterterrorism. It has all kinds of intel, and he's actually speaking from a place of knowing. No, he's just an anti-Semite. We all just hate Jews, right? That's what it is. We're all just anti-Semites. No, we just don't want to go to war, you fucking retard. The country's not for it. And then the poll came out today. MAGA, 100% support. MAGA was a 100% support of Trump. I was like, what? What? His fucking approval rating is like cratering, dude. But yeah, 100% of MAGA supports Trump. But sure, keep saying that, dude. MAGA is dead. And this is the shit they're telling Trump. like, oh, MAGA's behind this. We've never had more support. This is so popular. We're going to kill the midterms. I mean, they're just filling them up with bullshit. And this naive old dude is just falling for it because he's got no people around him to tell him otherwise. And apparently, if anybody has anything negative to say, he doesn't want to listen to him. All he wants to hear is positive shit. I mean, fuck, dude. What happened to the guy in the first term? What happened to him? And it is believable that maybe the assassination attempt, maybe he's afraid for his life, and he's just like, okay, I'll do whatever you say. Just let me be a president, and let me do my thing. But yeah, I'll do whatever you tell me. Just don't kill me. I don't know, man. It's so fucking weird, dude. It's so weird, this flip from being no new wars to being the guy that's against all the neocon bullshit to just one day he's just like, yeah, I think I'm going to be a neocon and just do what neocons want. I wish I could understand it.
Yes, but a lot of it, I think, is just we feel very comfortable with the Israelis. A lot of them are dual citizens. They sound like us. They don't feel foreign. We kind of go into a more complacent mode where we trust a lot of what they have to say, not keeping in the back of our mind that they have their own agenda and we have our own agenda at the end of the day. Now, I'd say a lot of times we have the same agenda. You know, it's very, very, I think, tactically, the same when it comes to fighting Hezbollah, when it comes to fighting terrorism, sure. But when it comes to what's our strategic goal in a war that's going to have ramifications for our nation, for the region, for global energy supplies, I think most folks right now at the Pentagon and the intelligence agencies, they would say us and the Israelis actually have a different objective here. I don't believe that our objective has been clearly defined because we're shying away from regime change. The Israelis are not shying away from regime change. They want to knock out lock, stock, and barrel the current government. They don't seem to have a plan for what comes next.
Well, that was my next question. And I think you would have heard tell of such a plan. So if you're going to take out a government, I think it's fair to ask what replaces it. And I have asked a bunch of people, many people, this question.
The Shaw, guys, they're going to bring back the Shaw. Did you see all the people on Twitter who are the Shaw supporters? Like, it's going to be more radical people that replace them. And then we're going to have to kill those radical people. And then there's going to be more radical people that replace them. Then we're going to have to kill them. And then it's fuck, dude.
I never got any answer whatsoever.
And North Baird said, what if everything goes good? Are you going to change your mind? What is going good? Gas prices not going up to $10 a gallon. Is that good? Like, are you talking like 20 years from now if Iran is like some pro-American regime and they just are our puppet? Because that's what we want. We want puppets. The biggest problem with Iran is that they just won't do everything we want them to do. They're sovereign and think for themselves and look after their own interests. And we don't want that. Israel doesn't want that. We want puppets, slaves, to bow down to us. And if you don't, then yeah, we're going to put sanctions on you. We're going to bomb you and we're going to go to war. I don't know, like, what is the good scenario? I don't even know what the goal is. What are we trying to accomplish? Oh, they can never have a nuke. Okay, yeah, all right. I don't know, man. Yeah, okay, if good shit comes out of this, I'll acknowledge it. Okay, but it's just probably not going to happen. That's just, I mean, you're telling me this is the unicorn? This is the one time that this is going to be great and the world's going to be a better place?
Other than there's no plan. The Israelis don't have a plan because they don't care. Do you think that's fair?
I think that's completely fair. I think as Americans, rightfully, we want a clear stated objective and end state for war. I think that's something that...
It's been a couple of weeks, dude. Yes, you're right. It's been a couple of weeks. People said the same thing during Iraq. Oh, it's only been a couple of weeks. Dude, I'll give it time. But right now, I'm not going to pretend like that we're not on a disastrous fucking pathway right now. We've seen this play out before. Okay? And we have a government telling us we've totally destroyed Iran, while Iran is not destroyed, while they're fucking still in the fight, while they still have the Strait of Hormuz locked down, while they're still shooting missiles off it and blowing up oil facilities in Saudi Arabia. But they're destroyed. So you can't blame me for being a little skeptical that it's already becoming a fucking disaster. And if we continue on, the disaster is going to be of epic proportions. So I don't know, man, but yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe everything will be good.
That was born out of the GWOT, was born out of the Vietnam era. Americans want to know why we're going to war, what the end state is, and they can get on board in general if that's clearly articulated. That's not the case with Iran. The Israelis are different. I think a lot of times, again, because a lot of them speak English, they culturally feel the same, but the Israelis have a much different tolerance for how and why they're going to war and for their endurance for war. The Israelis are completely fine with Iran slipping into chaos. That means that the Ayatollah and the IRGC can't really threaten them anymore. Hezbollah's money might be cut off in their head. And so complete chaos in Iran, it's not necessarily a bad thing for the Israelis. For us, for global energy, Straits of Hormuz, our partners in the GCC, mass migration problems in Europe, this is a major problem.
We're going to rally so much hatred for us. People don't even think about, like, bro, we're developing a bunch of bad will among the fucking world. Everybody's looking at us like we're a bunch of warmongering fucking lunatics. And they're kind of right to think that. Because that's how we're behaving. We behaved that way for a long time, but the American people got annoyed with it. So we fucking voted that sort of thinking out. But even though we didn't vote for this, it got back in like a fucking mind virus, back in control of our government. And we're acting like a bunch of warmongering fucking losers again, dude. And yeah, this is going to create a bunch of bad will. And I don't know, man, we might end up being number one enemy on the public stage. Or most countries are going to see us that way.
It's a catastrophe for the world.
For the world, yeah.
Hate to brag, but we're pretty...
Yeah, let's do another commercial. Go check out Dutch.
Save them, and then a lot of the exile communities here in the United States of Iranians, a lot of them really nice people, sure. They jumped on board. We got to save our people. But by your telling, and by the facts, by the way, this is not really an opinion. There's no plan for what happens after regime change. Like, the people pushing that line would be happy to see a permanent civil war there.
Which is insanity. So if we do want a real regime change and we want the people to rise up and want it to happen fairly organically, going aggressively after the Ayatollah was the last thing that we ever should have done. Again, like, I'm no fan of the former supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. However, he was moderating their nuclear program. He was preventing them from getting a nuclear weapon. If you take him out, if you kill him aggressively, people are going to rally around that regime. And the next Ayatollah that you get, and I think this is the case by all data that we have with his son, the next Ayatollah that you get is going to be more radical because he has to show the people that he's going to push back. And there's always a tension inside of Iran between the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, and the clerics who run the country. They have a healthy, I think, tension between the two, a rivalry. IRGC's leadership, these are Qasem Soleimani's troops. These are the guys that Soleimani trained. These guys, most of them cut their teeth in the Iraq-Iran war. A lot of them cut their teeth fighting us in Iraq. They cut their teeth fighting ISIS in Iraq and Syria. They created Hezbollah. They trained and armed Hezbollah. So these guys are actually pretty serious and pretty hardline, and they're willing to fight and they want to fight. And so by killing the Ayatollah, we've given them more power because now internally they can go and they can say, hey, all you guys who thought that we could negotiate with the Americans, you're chumps. We have to fight them.
This is just common sense. It's just common sense. People are going to deny it and be like, oh, this guy's stupid. He's just a fucking anti-Semite. And it's like, this is just common sense, strategic thinking. Where you go, hey, if I do A, then B happens. If I do B, C happens. If I do D, E happens. It's like, it's just common sense, bro. You're going to make them more radical. You're going to increase levels of terrorism around the world. And you're not going to make America safer. And you're going to make the economy fucking crash, bro. You're going to destroy our fucking economy and make life super difficult for Americans. And what did we get from it? What did we get? What's the good that's going to come out of this? Please explain to me. What's the good?
So I think the longer this goes on, the more negotiators, the more moderates that are killed off. Like we just killed, Ali Laranjani, who was a negotiator, who was eager to get us a deal. Again, look, I've got no love for the IRGC. I've got no love for the Iranians. But you've got to realize,
just to be clear,
if you want it to end,
in case you're treating it now, you fought their proxies.
I fought their proxies. I mean, I put countless of them in flex cuffs or much worse. I've gone after the Iranians. I was in specialized outfits that went after the Iranians and their proxies. These are very serious people. They're not supermen by any means. They're humans. But they're serious. And if you give the IRGC a reason to take more control and they get support from the people, because again, you kill off the Ayatollah, they can say, hey, the last guy was too moderate. Look at what it got us. Like, give us more.
And I don't think Israel is happy, CWG. I don't think they are, bro. They're getting hit pretty fucking hard. And they're like not reporting on it. So I don't know, man. Israel might have bitten off a little more than they can chew. They're a fucking insane regime, to be honest. Like, if we're talking about how bad the Iran regime is, Israel's better. I mean, I've kind of ignored the Palestine fucking Gaza shit because I'm like, I don't really care. There's domestic issues that I want to focus on, but they're now doing the same sort of shit in fucking to Hezbollah in Lebanon, even though it doesn't appear to be Hezbollah. It appears to be just random fucking residential buildings are just blowing up. I don't know, man. I think we need to put sanctions on Israel. I think we need to talk to Iran and be like, sorry, we picked the wrong side. We're going to leave you alone. Watch how quickly Iran fucking... I mean, here's the thing too. Like, people act like there's no way to de-escalate this. And there is. There is. All of this shit that they push us into, like, we have no choice. These people are so terrible. No, we could actually walk off the ledge and we can fucking open up communications. Maybe not now, but before we could have, and be like, you know what? We're going to leave you alone. You guys do your thing. We're going to get rid of sanctions. We're going to stop meddling in your business. And you know what? Maybe we can even have some trade deals or whatever. But, we're done being the world's police and being a bully on the world stage. And watch how quickly they really stop caring about us. And yeah, are they a bad regime? Are they this? Are they that? Yeah, there's tons of them all across the world. That's not our problem. Our problem is America. Our problem isn't what's going on in every other country, dude. I don't know. I just fucking... It's unbelievable to me because I thought we so fucking pushed away from this after the Bush years. There was such a fucking disgust from Americans with this type of fucking Middle East meddling bullshit that we would fucking get away from it. And it's like, here we are, 2026, and it's might as well be 2006. We're right back to the same fucking shit. And it's retarded.
More control.
I get it.
And the Iranian people are going to be like, well, actually, yeah, I don't like getting bombed by the Americans and the Israelis. Maybe we do need to listen to the IRGC.
So a lot of these, the points that you're making, I think are insightful, but they're also pretty obvious if you kind of game it out for 10 seconds. Yeah. So it seems like you've got two different goals. You've described Israel's goal as just regime change, permanent chaos, take Iran off the map as a coherent nation state, just tie them up with internal chaos, whatever the effects of that are on the rest of the world, all of them disastrous. Then on the American side, you have the president's stated goal, which is we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon, which they didn't have and weren't trying to build in any imminent way.
Right.
Okay. So if you join those two together in a common mission in a war, like that's our partner in this war,
yeah,
then you create all kinds of very bad incentives. Mm-hmm. And now Larijani, I think, was killed by the Israelis. You saw the Israelis blow up Qatari natural gas facilities today in the Qatari natural gas field, which feeds the rest of the world LNG. Those seem like very obvious steps, not to minimize the threat from Iran, but to lock down the United States in perma-war. We can't get out after we do that. You kill the negotiator, you attack our closest ally in the region, is probably Qatar. You attack Qatar, apparently? Like, no one thought this might happen?
And there's no reins on the Israelis, unfortunately. I mean, we continue to refer to them like as our partners are equal to the best partners we've ever had. But at the end of the day, the Israelis couldn't do any of this without us. And so we have to be...
They are not, just 100%, without a doubt, they are not acting in our best interest, dude. Look, I'm sorry, if you're going to be an ally, right? Like, if we're going to call you an ally, then yes, we have to act in our own interest, but also your interest as well, and vice versa. You cannot be an ally when you're actively doing things that are going to hurt our country and then act like you're an ally. They're not an ally, dude. They would love probably to see our country fucking be destroyed. I don't know, to see us not be the top dog. Like, they want to be the top dog. I think that's what it is. I mean, this might be a war against us in the long run. Seems like it. Seems like it.
Acting against our interests in a very obvious and very serious way.
And again, it's obvious if we've stated that our goal is just to take away their ability to ever even enrich and to take away their ballistics and to take away their Navy, all these kind of tactical objectives. If we say that that's our objective, and that's when we can come to a place where we can just exit, it's in the Israelis' interest to get us more and more entrenched in this.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what they're doing right now. You know, I when the Israelis killed Laranjani, I think I may have misspoke and said we didn't kill him. The Israelis,
yes.
The Israelis struck him. But I do believe in Iran at this point of the war, they view it as, whether we like it or not, I think they view it as us and the Israelis kind of as the same thing.
We've described it that way.
Because the Israelis couldn't do any of this without us. And then that's where the relationship is just way off kilter. If they have different objectives than us, then what are we doing letting them drive the war? So
you just said something that's been disputed many times by the well, I'm not going to name anybody, but by advocates for Israel. It's a PR department here in the United States, which is huge. And you said they couldn't do any of this without us. You often hear its promoters, its lobbyists say, Israel just wants to fight its own wars. Back off and let us do it. Is that not?
I'd love us to run the experiment. We try that.
What would happen?
You know, the Israelis, again, they have the ability to go out and collect great intelligence. They have a very capable military, but they're a very small country. I think Israel would be able to defend itself. I think it could conduct, limited strikes on its borders. I think it could continue carrying out pretty impressive targeted assassinations against its adversaries. And so I think you would see it relatively contained. What it couldn't do is go topple entire governments. It couldn't do something like the Iran war, the Iraq war. It couldn't aggressively, destabilize Syria. These big, heavy lifts of regime change that America has been engaged in, Israel could not do on their own, which is where you get back to the Israeli lobby being just so potent and so powerful and so aggressive.
And I want to ask you about that because that's the line that you're being attacked for. And so I want to go through and have you explain more fully, if you would, why you said what you did and read it. But before I do that, one last question. Was any of this debated that you know of before this war commenced 3 weeks ago? Did anyone say, well, wait a second, if we do this and kill the Ayatollah, because that was like the first order, I think, what are the effects after?
No, it's all positive. So Trump won't even have anybody around him that'll be like, yeah, if we do that, we're just going to destabilize it. Actually, he's probably a stabilizing entity in that area. And one of the reasons they don't have nuclear bombs. Oh, what do you mean being negative? No, he wants to hear it's going to be great. The world's going to love it. And everybody's going to cheer. And they're going to give you a Nobel Peace Prize. And everybody's going to realize how great America is. And oil prices are going to go down. And it's like, just feed him a bunch of bullshit. That's what he wants to hear. That's what he wants. Just give it to him.
And like, what's the...
Dude, we got to stop electing senile presidents. That has to be playing a part in this, dude. There has to be some part of him that's just not there the way it used to be. Reasoning, critical thinking, whatever it is. Or he's just like, all the worst parts of his personality are like in full control now. I don't know. But we got to stop with the fucking geriatric presidents, dude.
Goal. Did these debates ever...
I know they happened heavily before the 12-Day War. I think that when the Israelis came back around and said they wanted to do this, I just don't think there was any debate. I think just based on the ecosystem and the amount of influence that was exerted.
Because in some ways this is a little humiliating since I was told, the whole country was told that after the 12-Day War, there was no Iranian nuclear threat. We got rid of it.
They're lying, Tucker. Everything that's coming out of their mouth now is a lie. They lie like nothing, dude. Oh, we destroyed Iran. Iran's gone. We destroyed their nuclear program. No, actually, we didn't. We destroyed Iran. They have no ability to fight back. Actually, they do. They're still shooting missiles off. You can't believe anything that comes out of their mouth. It's all propaganda. And it's FYI, just like the neocons did for the first fucking forever wars they got us into.
I'm not imagining that. It just happened last summer.
Yeah.
Do you recall those statements?
Yeah, I mean, Operation Midnight Hammer.
Yes.
Destroyed their nuclear capability. So
how was it that we wound up 6 months later getting another lecture about their nuclear capability and its imminent threat to the United States and nuclear tipped ballistic missiles aimed at Miami and the whole thing. And nobody, first of all, there was no organized protest against this. Like in a normal country, you'd think people would rise up and be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Mm-hmm. You just told us 6 months ago the exact opposite. Yeah. What did internally in the intel world, people say, what the hell is going on?
I just think that the planning for this was so compartmentalized that there was no debate, as in it was a foregone conclusion. Maybe the exact timing they weren't exactly aware of, or that had to be debated. When do we do it? But it seemed to be a foregone conclusion, and I'm sure others will say no, that's not the case at all. But there was no robust debate like there was going into the 12-day war, because the big question that a lot of us had that were skeptical of Operation Midnight Hammer was, okay, so we do this. We know the Israelis' whole goal is regime change. What makes us think they'll stop? And if they do stop for a period of time, why won't we just be back in the same place in 6 months where they're saying that we have to go back in? And that's essentially exactly what happened.
So this was raised?
This was raised, to my knowledge, in June. This was like, hey, what happens next? So you take out the nuclear, the ability for them to enrich and to potentially develop a nuclear weapon. That's done. We know the Israelis have a completely different goal. Part of that strike, Midnight Hammer, was also to get the Israelis to wrap up the 12-day war. But we knew, because of what the Israelis told us, that they wanted, this is the time to take down the regime. And they don't want the Ayatollah to be in power. They want a regime change. They want a new government there. So we said, okay, knowing that, we know that this strike, this limited strike that we're going to do, isn't going to be enough. At some point, the Israelis are going to come back to us and say, hey, we have to go again. And with that knowledge, and I think because so many of us had pointed that out, and because the Israelis had said it, there wasn't a big debate this last time. You know, I think they had that discussion, behind closed doors, and there wasn't a chance for any dissenting voices to come in.
But you would think, well, I've seen it before. When a question like this arises, the people making the decision go immediately to their own intel agencies, and in your case, the agency that has jurisdiction over those agencies, and say, all available intel on the question of the Iranian nuclear program, all available intel on the question of ICBMs or its ballistic missile program, all available intel on what might happen if we topple the regime in place. Like, this has all been gamed out for a long time. There's a constant process of gathering intel on it, correct?
Yeah. And that's what we did in the lead up to the 12-day war.
And then they ignored you.
But this time, no, not to my knowledge. And I'm sure the administration will come out and say, no, you just weren't invited. But I've got a pretty good idea of how those meetings look. And even if I wasn't invited, I at least would have known that they took place. Again, it just seemed to be a
I guarantee you, they figured out right away who is going to be a problem and who's going to push back against this war bullshit. And they got him the fuck out of the meetings. And they fucking went to Trump and they're like, oh, this guy's a problem. He's a leaker. He's blah, 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 blah. Just whatever smearing they needed to do to get Trump to be like, okay, well, he's not going to be in all the meetings anymore. And then it was just nothing but pro-war hawks, dude. Nothing but Mark Levin types surrounding Trump. And here we are. Fucking hell, dude.
Drawing conclusion that this was happening.
So most people don't wake up in the morning and decide to feel horrible, exhausted, foggy, disconnected from themselves.
What if I do, Tucker? What if I wake up and I go, I want to feel terrible today. Fuck everything. All right, let's go on. Let's get past the ads.
I bring this up because it's so distressing, but I have to ask a question about blowback, the effects, the downstream effects of military action, terrorism in the United States. Yeah. And I have the feeling we're going to see some of it, but I want to ask you. But since you are an acknowledged expert on that question, and since you spent your adult life fighting Iranian proxies, and because we're always hearing some of them are in the United States, did anyone go to you and say, if we do this, what are the odds that we will have terror attacks in the homeland here in the U.S.?
That was a piece or an intelligence product that we worked up on our own.
I bet.
And coordinated throughout the intelligence community. Basically, we talked about the Iranians' ability to conduct sleeper cell-like attacks, which is actually pretty limited. The whole idea of sleeper cells or a cell operating is challenging in today's environment because cells have to communicate with each other, and we're pretty good at picking up on that.
I think Iran realizes all they have to do is wait out Trump. Once Trump's gone, this war is over. To me, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think once Trump's out, the neocons have no power anymore. This is the last hurrah of the neocons. They can't win elections. They can only fucking sneak their way into legitimate shit that people voted for and then fucking take over by being sneaky little bitches. They can't win elections. Americans hate neocons. So yeah, you just got to wait out Trump. And if you were to do terrorist attacks in America, it would be dumb for Iran to do that, because then you would start to, because they got to know the American people are not behind this. The American people didn't vote for this. The American people are sick of this. Say what all you want, but America supports us 100%. Fuck off, bro. The American people overwhelmingly do not want to do any of this bullshit anymore. You know, especially people that have a memory. I don't know. Maybe if you're like a fucking goldfish and you have no memory, maybe you're like, okay, well, we can keep doing this. All they got to do is wait out Trump. That's all they got to do. And I think they can survive a lot longer than we think they can.
A real threat.
It would be dumb. My main point, it would be dumb for them to be doing terrorist attacks in America, because then that would actually start to move the needle to where Americans would start supporting some sort of action in Iran.
And most major terrorist organizations have kind of moved to this model, is the lone actors.
Yes.
It's inspiring people that are already in place by using the media. There was already a ton of blowback, because the Gaza war. Hamas used propaganda very, very effectively to, I think, curry a lot of favor with younger people here in the United States and abroad. And there was multiple terrorist attacks in America in the last year where Gaza was cited because they consumed some of the propaganda coming out of Gaza. And these people weren't, infiltrated Iranian agents. They were here, folks that were homegrown. And so we said, hey, the biggest threat right now isn't that the Iranians are going to sneak some guys over and they've been waiting here for years and they're Quds Force operatives. That's always possible. Again, the Iranians are very competent as well. And they have tried something like that before in the past, back under the Obama administration, when they tried to kill the Saudi ambassador in Georgetown. So we were worried about that. But what we were more worried about was the fact that Biden had the border open for 4+ years. And I testified publicly in Congress laying out the 18,000 known suspected terrorists that potentially could be in the country. Since then, we've discovered potentially more. The problem is the bookkeeping under the Biden administration was kind of like the border. It was wide open. And so we don't know how many folks are actually in the country that shouldn't be here. It's millions. How many of them have ties to countries that are adjacent to Iran or that are...
Again, this is just a complete failure of common sense and logic. Yeah, let's start a war against a group of people. Let's demonize them. Let's blow them up. Let's force them to flee their countries, kill their family members, and then let's invite them into our country. That'll be fine. That's not going to cause problems. I mean, Jesus Christ. America is run by literal retards, dude. Literal retards run this country. Either that or they're trying to destroy this country. One or the other.
Iranian. As I left, we were still working on some of those numbers, but we've seen several terrorist attacks since these operations began in America, and they all fit that lone actor inspired model. So the blowback is, as longer this goes on and the more the propaganda inevitably gets weaponized, we are going to see more than likely more people here that are radicalized. Now, frankly, I think that and this is another great thing about President Trump, none of these people should be in the country. We should have tighter immigration policies.
Yeah, but he's backing down on that too. So yeah, you get nothing you voted for, and Israel gets everything. You as the American, you get nothing. Israel gets everything.
Should be focused right now. Our focus should be on finding everyone who shouldn't be in our country right now and getting them out as soon as possible, not in another foreign adventure.
I wonder, so you've already seen in the wake of a recent...
Terrorism is pretty easy to fix, to be honest, right? Like, if there's no fucking... If we were to actually secure the country and be like, yeah, I'm not saying you can completely get rid of it, because there could be an American citizen who decides to do a terrorist action or something. But essentially, you just get everybody out of the country that doesn't belong here. Oh, you're from Iran? Oh, you're from Afghanistan? Oh, you're a Muslim? You're not an American citizen? Well, you can go back home. Boom. Guess what? There's could be nobody here to do a terrorist attack. Pretty easy to fix that.
Terror attack, neocons use that attack as a way to try and censor, shut down, maybe even imprison critics of the decision to go to war in Iran. So it's almost like you control both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Like you advocate for a war, which inevitably stokes religious hatred because you advocate for the killing of a religious leader, okay? So you're helping to create religious war, permanent generational religious war. And then when your country, or the country you happen to be living in that you don't really care about, feels the effects, when Americans are killed as a result of that, you use their deaths to justify the silencing of people who criticized you. Does that make sense?
No, exactly.
Yeah. So how much are you concerned we're going to see more of that?
I'm very concerned. I think I pray we won't, but the odds are not in our favor, just considering how open our borders have been. Obviously, this type of propaganda radicalizes people. Again, we've already seen attacks. We saw attacks inspired by the conflict in Gaza. So I think we're going to see more of this, and then just, you
bring it up, Nick Fuentes. I was watching Nick last night, and it's weird because Nick's attacking Joe Kent, and he's almost like, oh, did Joe Kent leak something? Oh, but I was going to come on Joe Kent's defense, but maybe he's a leak. Like, Nick, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Here's a guy within the government coming out spilling the beans. And you're like, oh, I don't know about Joe Kent. And then, you remember Joe Kent and Nick Fuentes have like a history where Nick kind of threw him under, or Nick feels like Joe threw him under the bus because Joe kind of distanced himself from him. It's like, Nick's not stupid. He understands the guy's trying to win a fucking campaign. You can't be like, oh yeah, I'm a groyper. Yeah, fuck Israel, while you're running a campaign. Like, he did what was politically smart to do. And Nick should be smart enough to understand that. For some reason, he's still attacking Joe Kent. I don't fucking get it, dude. I don't get it. Like, you can go deep into conspiracies with Joe and be like, oh, he's actually a puppet. They're putting him here to be the guy, and then he's going to flip on us the way Trump did. I get it. You can think conspiratorial like that. But at this point, like, the guy's putting himself out there on a ledge. He fucking resigned from the greatest job he ever had, and now he's calling out the administration and calling out Israel's influence over our administration. Like, maybe we should support the guy who's speaking up and fucking putting himself at risk to kind of try to hopefully wake some Americans up to the retardation going on within our country right now. But I don't know. Sometimes, I like Nick. I think he's a smart guy, but sometimes I just don't understand his thinking.
Made the mistake of opening up Twitter a couple times today. There's people calling for, dissenting voices to be charged, to be locked up,
of course,
et cetera. And so,
they may be.
The erosion of civil rights, I think, during a time of conflict is nothing new. Unfortunately, we've seen it before.
It's the rule. But I wonder, though, is like people.
I'll be happy as soon as the war ends, disconfected malcontent. So yes, if it ends in 3 weeks, I'll be happy because it's over and we didn't drag it on and make it as horrible as possible. But that was 3 weeks we didn't even need to fucking do. And that 3 weeks is still going to cause a lot of problems in our economy. The inflation for our economy is already going to be fucking bad because of this. Okay? So yes, that'll be great. I'll be happy. But there was no point to do the 3 weeks. What did we accomplish? So yeah, no, I mean, I'll be happy it's over. I'll be like, thank God he finally walked it back. But then the questions will be, well, what was the fucking point?
We'll talk through, or maybe they didn't talk it through, but did anybody in the lead up to this, I just want to ask it again to make sure I understand the answer, in the lead up to this war, which is now a regional war, potentially a global war, big war, biggest war of our lives, did anyone come to you and say, what's your projection for like what the effects on the United States will be? Like how many Americans could die at the shopping mall because of this, or at school?
We proactively wrote an assessment,
yeah,
which is what we tend to do anyways. But again, there just wasn't a huge process and a debate about this last iteration.
But you're worried about it.
I'm very concerned about it.
I am too. Yeah. I am too. Yeah, I'm too. Okay, so let me read you the most controversial, and you've addressed this to some extent, but I'd like you to flesh it out a little more, if you don't mind. You say to support the values and the foreign policies that you can't.
$6 in Cali? That actually sounds good. I thought it was higher than $6. Yeah, go get some gas while it's $6. That sounds crazy, but it's definitely going up. Okay, there's no doubt about it, dude. It's going up.
Campaigned on
during
three
better.
campaigns, and that you enacted. You understood up until June of 2025 that the wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of the precious lives of our patriots and depleted the wealth and prosperity of our nation. Early in this administration, this is the change. High-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran.
This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States and that you should strike now. There was a clear path to a swift victory. This was a lie and is the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war that cost our nation the lives of thousands of our best men and women. We cannot make this mistake again. So I think you've explained how the echo chamber and the lobbying campaign worked. It wasn't just on Fox and the Wall Street Journal. It was by telephone and text message. It was in person, and it was relentless. And there was no countervailing campaign. There was almost nobody who went to the president and said, well, actually, here's the American view, which is frustrating. But then you allude at the end of that to the Iraq war. Mm-hmm. And I think you told me at dinner last night, I think you spent 5 years total. You had 11 combat deployments. You spent about, you think, 5 years.
There's a fucking American hero, and they're like going to try to destroy this guy. Trump, the fucking draft dodger, is talking about this guy being weak and etc. Like, dude, say what you want. This dude has served his country. His wife was murdered serving the country, killed in action serving the country. He's a fucking hero, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, 9 of those deployments were to Iraq for...
And I know, St. Onion, you don't trust his face, but I can't judge him by his face. I don't know. I get it. I get it. Sometimes you can accurately kind of look at somebody's face and go, oh, this guy's a problem. I don't see that with Joe Kent. And, yeah. I'm thinking he's, at this point, definitely a hero. That's my opinion.
6 to 8 months, so, yeah.
Okay, so you've had some time to think about the Iraq war.
yeah. More time than is healthy, yeah.
Can I just say, because it makes me... So here you go, you join the Army at 18.
I agree. Bad ideas are bad ideas, like starting stupid fucking wars that are going to destroy your economy and bring about inflation and destroy all the progress you've made in getting oil prices down. Yeah, you're right, MFG. Dumb decisions are dumb decisions.
18,
yeah.
You spend your whole young life there. Go to all these wars, 11 deployments. You spend 5 years in Iraq, over 7 deployments.
So he's a CIA spook, but yet he's against the war that our government is running. So he's a CIA spook who's betraying his... Make it make sense, guys.
And you reach a series of conclusions, fighting and being shot at by Iranian proxies. And now you say, I don't think this war is good for America. And you're being slandered as a bad, unpatriotic quitter who secretly sympathizes with the Ayatollah. I just have to ask you how that feels.
I mean, they love you when you're just saluting and moving out. But then the second you say, I don't think we should be doing this, and I have an opinion now, then all the attacks come at you. But I truly believe that that God put me where I am right now, really putting me through everything I've been through in my life to bring me to this point. I don't believe that God said, hey, you're here now in this moment.
Well, yeah, I agree. Just one action speak louder than words. But you understand the actions he's taking here is calling out the administration that he was just a part of and blowing the whistle on how this came about. So he is taking an action that is siding with, to me, America. Because to me, the patriotic thing, they want to say we're traitors, we're not patriots. No, the patriotic thing is to not get bogged down in stupid wars that are going to hurt the American people. So he is taking an action, and he's standing up against this stupid fucking war. And I salute him for it.
To just sit back and be a good soldier for this iteration. I've had lots of friends who have said, hey, I think you would have been more value staying in the administration with your experiences. And I understand that, and I'm flattered by it. But considering all that I've seen, the conclusions that I've reached, I feel like I'm here for a reason. And something I think probably on my 3rd or 4th deployment, as I was realizing that we were lied to get us into Iraq, and that we had a whole mess that we now had to clean up, and how much it mirrored and echoed Vietnam. And
it makes sense that somebody that it's probably around my age, who lived through the lies of the forever wars, the Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, fucking weapons of mass destruction, you lived through that. Of course, he's going to have a bit of skepticism, and it makes perfect sense because my generation, they don't like us right now. The Levins out there are talking so much shit about the millennials like me who are just fucking immediately no to stupid Middle East wars because we lived through this and we fell for the bullshit before. So now they have to come after us and attack us and attack our credibility as if we're fucking stupid when we're the ones that people should be listening to because we lived through this and we were fooled before and we're trying to go, hey guys, we've seen this before. We fell for this before. Please listen. Don't fall for this. And everybody, oh, you're just a dumb fucking millennial. You're just scared of everything. You're a big pussy. It's like, no, I'm telling you, if you walk down that alley, you're going to get mugged. Oh no, I'll be fine. I'm going to go down the alley. Okay. Please don't walk down the alley. I'm telling you I've had it happen to me. No, I'm going down the alley. And then you get shot in the head and they get mugged. And it's like, well, fuck, I tried to tell them. But yeah, we're the idiots, dude. We're the idiots who have the history and the fucking have been down this road before. And you really should fucking listen to us.
I remember as, being in my mid to late 20s, being very frustrated with a lot of the Vietnam veterans who did not speak up against. And I know some did, but especially Vietnam veterans who stayed in service as I had intended to do, who stayed in service and who advocated for the Iraq War. Colin Powell is someone who I have a lot of respect for the way he fought in Vietnam, his leadership in Desert Storm.
We do have a choice, MFG. I believe we do have a choice. It's not an easy thing to do. People want to support their country in war. You don't want to be the guy that's called a traitor because you're not supporting your country because it's war. You got to get. So yeah, it's difficult, but you can do something about it, man. You can. First of all, you can speak out. Second of all, you can vote for the anti-war candidates. And everybody's got a voice now. Everybody's got a voice. Fucking use it.
But then the way that he was part of lying to get us into the Iraq war and then staying on and continuing those lies, knowing full well, having all the experiences of being a guy on the ground in a feudal war that was, basically we were deployed.
The guy's wife died and he was married 4 years later. Oh, how dare he? How dare he get married again after his wife died? He's supposed to never have sex again. Never. I mean, what the fuck? 4 years later, that seems reasonable. If it was like 10 days later or maybe even the same year, okay, that's a little weird. But, sometimes people can't be alone. Some people don't like being single. So they immediately look for the next person because they just cannot be alone. I've had friends like they have to have a girlfriend. If they go 2 weeks without a girlfriend, like they become suicidal. Like they gotta have a girlfriend. But yeah, that's not crazy. To be 4 years after his wife died, the guy's got to move on. He's got to live his life.
Under false pretenses.
Too soon, Mary Elizabeth? 4 years? 4 years, dude. Look, if okay, when I get married, if I die, if I married you, Mary Elizabeth, I'm assuming you're a woman. Hopefully, you're a woman, because that would be weird if you're not. And I died, Mary. Please do not sit there and be miserable. Go find your happiness, okay? That's what I want.
He had all that knowledge, and because he wanted to be loyal to, I think, the president, and I think he wanted to be loyal to what he felt was the government that would eventually get it right.
By the way, I'm not proposing to you, Mary. Sorry if it came off that way.
He didn't step out and say, we shouldn't be doing this. And I
don't know you that well, Mary.
On that. And, I said to myself at the time, and this might seem, silly and idealistic, but said to myself at the time, if it's ever my turn, if it's ever my generation's turn, I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure this doesn't happen to the next generation. So a real breaking point for me, I did the best I could for a couple weeks as this war started from the inside to try and find off ramps to try and provide information to see what I could do from the inside. But watching the casualties roll in, and I don't want to use anyone's loss as a political talking point, but for me personally, watching more casualties come in, I just couldn't stand by as both a veteran and then as a Gold Star husband and say like I'm just going to continue to soldier on in this. It's time to try something different. I know this path that we're on, it doesn't work. I've seen enough data. It's time to do something different.
How hard a decision was that?
It became really clear to me, over the weekend, this past weekend, that our message just wasn't getting through. And I was like, I know what happens if I stay. If I stay and I go along with this, I'm going to be knee deep in it, trying to just chip away and make a difference.
Yeah, you're going to be lying every day. You're going to have to just feed the American people all the bullshit talking points that are not true, and you would have politically destroyed your career. This is the right move, even if you're being selfish and you're doing it for your own political future. It's the right move. And other people who, if you want to have a political future, You need to fucking stand up. And if you're not going to resign, you need to at least be like, I'm against this. This is a mistake. And I really wish Trump would talk to me so I could explain my feelings on this. People need to stand up and be heard. Don't just go along when they're fucking pushing us off a cliff. Don't be that retarded person that's just like, oh, everybody's just jumping off the cliff. I'll just jump off the cliff as well.
But my ability to have, my voice heard, to present data that runs contrary to the trajectory and the agenda that the administration's on, that's going to be squashed before it even really reaches the White House. And so I knew I had kind
Oh, you were joking, Mary? Sorry. I thought you were
of
serious.
hit my limit
It's hard to tell in text.
of effectiveness in that capacity. So really, it should have been a hard decision, but for me, it was crystal clear. It was like, number one, I can't be a part of this in good conscience, and I need to do everything I can to actually speak out about it and speak out in a way that I hope resonates with the president and with some of my former colleagues. I understand they might be mad at me. They're getting hard questions from the media, but I really want them, as we descend even further into this war, I really hope that they take the time to reflect and to realize that we still have time to get us out of this. And then also for the 77 million people who voted for President Trump, who voted for no new wars, who voted for the foreign policy that President Trump enacted in his first administration, the foreign policy that I described. I mean, President Trump's first foreign policy, the one that he ran on, the one that he destroyed the Republican neocon establishment on, was incredibly pragmatic. We're not saying...
Yeah, I understand MFG. MFG says, Ping, it's not that I'm going along. I'm just fully aware I can't stop it. And at that point, why not make money off it in the to charity? Yeah, make money off it. Yeah, go for it. Oil's going to go up. So that's a pretty easy investment at this point. Yeah, make money. That's not my point. But to me, this is just, look, I know there are people who watch the show that are still hopeful that this is going to be good. I just cannot see a fucking future where this turns out good. And of course, yes, maybe I'm just I've had bad experiences, and those bad experiences from what happened in the early 2000s, what I lived through, maybe that's coloring my vision too much to where I can't see how this could be good. That's possible. But it's also possible that I'm speaking from fucking knowledge here, of experience, of being lied to, recognizing the pattern that is happening again that I have lived through and trying to be like, there's no way this is going to be good. I've seen this play out. I've seen the pattern, and that pattern's at place here again. So let's not do this. But yeah, make money on it. Hope for the best. Go sign up and go fight if you want to go fight too. I mean, whatever. You do you. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
You have to be some kind of a
go make some money off
pacifist. We are saying, though, that you have to be very, very deliberate and judicious in how you use force. And you also have to use the full scope of the American toolbox. You use diplomacy, you use our economic leverage. And again, this isn't something that I came up with. President Trump came up with this. President Trump enacted this. And this is why 77 million people voted for him. It's probably not the only reason. But the no new wars, put America first, don't let us bleed out in the Middle East. That's what people voted for, and that's what I think you campaigned for, and I think that's something he could get us back to if he just takes a look and assesses how we got to where we are right now.
I want to get to that in a minute. Your solution, and I just want to be transparent about my motives. Not in this to attack anybody.
Right.
I'm concerned to the point of agitation about where this is going and its effects on the United States. I hope I'm wrong, but I believe it, and I think you do too. Yeah. I think this is the most serious thing that's happened in my lifetime. So I want to fix it, and I don't want it to happen again.
Exactly.
And I don't want history to be written in real time by liars in such a way that no one understands what we're going through, and then we make the same mistakes. And this is a principle that any parent applies to his own children. No, say out loud what you did, and you're less likely to do it again. So, but before I say anything, I just want to pause just on your personal experience. And I know you hate talking about this. I'm not going to.
I mean, Tucker's another one that fell for it too. He was all for Iraq, and it took him a while to figure it out, and he's learned his lesson, and now he's on the right side. So God bless Tucker. And I kind of feel what he said. What he said there kind of hit me hard, because it's like, yeah, dude, like we're sitting here watching us make the same fucking mistake that we should know not to make. That we should have learned our lesson. Hey, the stove's hot. Don't put your hand on the stove, okay? And then you do it when you're 3, you put your hand on the stove and you burn your hand, you go cry to mommy, and mommy's like, yeah, the stove is hot, I told you. And you're like, okay, my kid knows now he's not going to touch the stove. And then the next day, the kid's like, oh, I'm going to touch it again. And then for the rest of their life, every day, the kid's fucking slamming his hand on a hot stove. Like, dude, what is happening? Are people fucking insane? I think we are stupid as a country, to be honest. I think that's part of it, dude. We're in an idiocracy situation. And, God, I don't know. I don't know how we get the IQs up of our citizens
by pushing too much, but you feel it. I feel it as an observer, such sadness for the men who've been used, including you. And I wonder how, given everything you've done and everything you've just said, how you don't feel bitter at the response that you've gotten from people, some people. How do you keep the bitterness out?
I think faith. I've got a great wife. God's blessed me twice with my late wife Shannon, my wife Heather,
Yes.
our 2 boys, Colt and John.
How dare you? How dare you get a new wife? That means he must have killed his first wife, right?
Josh, I think they're watching this, hopefully. So faith and staying grounded on what's important.
Yes.
But then also, look, the people who are coming after me, I believe that the internet is like 25% real. I think there's a lot of bots. There's a lot of people who got delivered a talking point.
Oh, by the way, Mark Levin and him are going to have a debate. I think Mark Levin invited Ken on. Kent agreed. I'd like to see Mark Levine fucking debate Tucker Carlson. That's what I'd like to see. Because I think it would go the way of like what happened with Ted Cruz. Tucker would just wipe the floor with him. We'll see, though. That's going to be interesting. I was going in hard on X on Mark Levine this morning. Just reading his post where I was like, it's just getting enraged reading his stupid fucking post, bro. I don't know. Something about Mark Levine, like, oh, dude, it brings out some rage in me, dude, because he's such a lying piece of shit. It's such obvious lying. But yet, people still listen to him. Who are these? I mean, again, he's like Glenn Beck. It's got to be people in their 80s and shit. Got to be people that are just like completely brain dead listening to this retard.
And they're going to get a paycheck for it.
I've noticed.
Or they just, they want the adoration. So I just don't take most of it seriously. And again, look, I know there's some of my former colleagues, people who I do like, who have had to come after me. And I understand that too. Like, I get it. Like, they're still there. They've got to discredit everything I'm saying right now. They're watching, taking notes. So I'm not bitter about that. I literally just want to focus on the task at hand. And the task at hand is stopping us from getting deeper into this quagmire. Because again, like just looking back on my experiences in Iraq, I don't feel like this happened. There wasn't the ability to. There wasn't this platform. There wasn't, the free independent media that existed in any real way that could reach people.
That's right.
And so to me, we have this opportunity. So I'll be bitter and angry later when, I read Twitter and somebody who I used to like says that Joe Kent's a traitor and we're going to fire him tomorrow anyways. We don't have time for that. Like, as you pointed out, major things are happening right now in this war, and the president is facing some very, very challenging decisions. So I personally just hope that he and his closest advisors listen and think.
No, they're not going to listen. They're going to fucking lock you up, Joe. They're going to treat you like you're a fucking traitor to the country and you sold out the country, and they're going to, you and Tucker both, they're trying to lock both of you up right now. That's how out of control this shit's gotten. People have been asking, are you for impeachment of Trump? I don't know, man. Like, if you're putting us down this pathway of destroying our economy and getting us into another forever war, and we're murdering people, by the way, dropping bombs on people, killing them, children, school children, for what? Like, to me, this is the biggest issue. It overrides every other fucking issue. And there are so many issues we have. That's what sucks about this, because there's so many domestic issues that we need to prioritize and focus on that now have to go to the wayside so that we can fight this stupid warmongering and be like, we got to put a stop to this. So at this point, I'm sorry to say, I would vote for whoever the non-war candidate is. If it comes down to it, if I have 2 candidates, I'm going to throw away. I don't give a fuck if you're a progressive. I don't give a fuck if you're a Republican, independent. Whoever it is that's saying we're going to stop this fucking disastrous war, that's probably where my vote's going to go if this war continues on.
and that's the main priority.
So I strongly agree, and we can't allow hatred of us to inspire hatred in ourselves. You can't become a hater; it'll destroy you. It's what they want. So I salute you for avoiding that, and it's absolutely real. I spent a lot of time with you, and you're not a hater at all. You don't even seem that bothered. So that's incredible, given where you are. It's amazing. It's an act of faith, and I love it. End of the history portion of the segment, but I just think it's important to establish why you said first the war in Iraq, second the conflict in Syria, which took the life of your wife. Why both of those were driven by Israel?
Well, the war in Syria never would have happened without the war in Iraq. I mean, so had we not gone in and invaded Iraq, we wouldn't have had the conflict in Syria. But Syria was always a major problem under Assad.
And that's where his wife died, his first wife. She died in Syria. And I've heard it's pretty nasty the way his wife died. Like, it's pretty horrible.
The Israelis, both under his father and under the Bashar al-Assad, Hafez al-Bashir, because of their support, the relationship with the Iranians, their support for Hezbollah.
Right.
That's true, the Illuminati, but what other choice do we have, bro? Illuminati said it don't matter who you vote for. They eventually fall in line, especially when they get that second term. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about Trump, he seemed to be all right the first term. Second term, he's a totally different guy. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe I got to run for president. Maybe that's what's got to happen, guys. Pink Trip 2028.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Sorry, John. I know you want to run for president, John, but I'm going to have to take that. You're not going to be old enough yet, so.
And so they wanted to get rid of Assad as well. They saw Iraq as a vehicle for not just taking down Saddam Hussein, who posed a threat to them as well, but also as a way, a lily pad, if you will, to get rid of Syria. And basically,
So Assad must go, which was a slogan that all of a sudden emerged out of nowhere.
Right.
That was not like an organic American desire. It wasn't like Americans woke up and were like, the problem really is this ophthalmologist from Syria. He must go. It was that reflected the priorities of Israel, not
Israel.
of
And
the
then I
United
think you had the echo chamber as well, because you had.
Yeah, Obama was the same. He ran against it, and then he became just another. He became the bomber in chief. So yeah, that's the big problem. Everybody just tells you what you want to hear, and then when they get in, they do what the fuck they want. You realize who they really are and what their real agenda is, and then they get, probably a lot of pressure from the real powers behind the scenes that are always there. And I mean, I forgot who told this joke, but it's like first day you're elected, they sit you down and they show you the Zapruder film, and they're like, "You understand? You better listen."
Had all the usual suspects. You had FDD, and you had all these different other organizations that were out there saying that, like, now.
Yeah, we installed Saddam to fight against Iran, right? When Iran was at war with Iraq, and then we were supporting Iraq in their war against Iran. It's so fucking. We are the problem, guys. Okay? Stop listening to the bullshit. We are the problem, and we are also the solution. That's the nice part, is because we're the problem, we are also the solution. And if we just stop behaving like fucking lunatics and trying to be the world's police and trying to fucking bully everybody into doing what we want, and if you don't, we're going to go, if we stop doing that, we could basically put an end to all this bullshit. But we create the problems, and then they propagandize the people that, like, we're not the problem. It's all these boogeymen that are the problem. And it's like, no, we are the problem. And since we are the problem, we are also the solution. If only we could stop our government from behaving in the way they do.
The time to,
Barry Weiss,
break off the shackles.
True expert on Syria.
The next thing you know, there'll be a Syrian Thomas Jefferson that'll take over, and instead we got the former leader of Al-Qaeda. But a big reason that Syria became next after Iraq. In Iraq, we screwed the whole thing up so badly that we toppled Saddam, destabilized, fought a bitter insurgency. The Sunnis eventually aligned with Al-Qaeda, but then we beat them down so heavily because the Shias are the majority of the country. The Shias took over. Shias largely, the Shias that we installed in Iraq.
All right, so yeah, I think that's about it. You guys can go watch the rest. There's about another 45 minutes left. But yeah, I really wanted to hear just about what's going on. And yeah, that's what a lot of people already, they even said it. Rubio said it. Trump said it. Basically, Israel just said, we're going to go attack. And we have no choice, because if Israel attacks, then we're going to be attacked. But I agree with what Kent said. Yes, there is a choice. You condemn Israel. You say, you know what? Israel's out of control. They're biting off too much. They can't do this much, and they need us to do it, and we're not going to do it. And we're going to condemn them, and we're going to reach out to Iran and let them know that we condemn this, that we're seeking peace. And, you know, it would take a totally opposite approach to everything as to what we're doing now. And I know that seems pie in the sky, but it could be done. It could be done because a lot of this is caused by us. A lot of this is our meddling in everybody else's business, blowing up other people in other countries. It has nothing to do with us and us trying to get everybody to be our little bitch. And if you're not our little bitch, then we're going to fucking come after you. We're the problem. Let's see what the latest is. I do have some bookmarks saved here. Is this my bookmarks? Let's check out the latest on the war in Iran. What do I got saved here? Yeah, we saw this earlier. This is what our allies are up to right now. So this is the guy that there's like real people that live in these buildings. Bilal Kafarani or whatever. I have been deliberately silent on social media for a while. I use all my social media platforms to promote education and make dreams come true for young minds. I rarely post anything about family or politics. This morning, Israel demolished the building I have an apartment in. It took 22 years of my work here and 20 years of my wife's work to own this apartment. This madness has to stop. What's the logic, bro? Oh, I'm sure Hezbollah's hiding under there. It's like, oh, okay, so Hezbollah, like there's like one Hezbollah guy hiding there. So now we're going to take out an entire apartment complex with innocent civilians. You've lost your fucking mind, bro. You've lost your fucking mind. So yeah, that's what our fucking great allies up to. Steve Bannon, for the people that are pro-war here, let me make a recommendation for folks that were there. For folks that were there those many long years ago and decades ago, let's not go back 47 years. Let's not go back to Marine barracks. This country needs an answer, and we're going to be relentlessly pursuing it. And let's see what this is about.
And look, for the people that are pro-war here, let me make a recommendation for folks that were there those many long years ago and decades ago. Let's not go back 47 years. Let's not go back to the Marine barracks. Should there be vengeance for the Marine barracks? Yes. But President Reagan, who was taking down the evil empire at the time, he was the commander-in-chief that put the Marines in the barracks. And he's the commander-in-chief that made a decision that once that catastrophe happened, it essentially was what it was. There was other things that were done, paramilitary, CIA, all that. But there was no escalation, as many of the neocons at the time went on the warpath for him to do. And President Reagan knew all the facts and all the intelligence at the time. He had been the one. The fear of Reagan is what brought the hostages home. The failed effort to rescue them only made the mullahs and the Ayatollah double down. It was Reagan and the strength of Reagan that put the fear of God in them. And President Reagan, who was not opposed to the application of military force. The question still needs to be answered. This country needs an answer, and we're going to be relentless about pursuing it. What was the information that the commander-in-chief was given, both on the 12-day war and in this?
Well,
that it was an imminent. Why was it an imminent threat?
Well, because Israel was pretending that they had intelligence that was so far beyond our intelligence that they could read the future. And they're like, ignore your intelligence. Our intelligence is better, and it's we're ahead of you, and it's it was Israel. That's the answer.
And you're not.
Trump wants to go to heaven, so I guess Trump feels like if he starts wars and murders people on behalf of Israel, that'll get him into heaven.
Birthed out of MAGA by Tel Aviv Levin, who hated Trump and hates Trump, or Ben Shapiro, who hated Trump, and that's what reason I fired him, or he quit, depending on whose story you believe.
Yeah, because this was back in the Breitbart. What happened to Breitbart? Breitbart even around anymore? They hated Trump because Trump was the opposite of the neocon, and he was attacking the neocons. And it's so weird how this is where we are, where the anti-neocon candidate who was going to restore republicanism to what it's supposed to be instead of this neocon fucking weird monster that it became is now being run by the neocons. Well, you voted for it. Well, yeah, I fell for a lie. Sorry, it happens. I'll fall for more as well. Because what else can you do except vote for the one person who's promising to do the thing that you want him to do? You going to vote for the guy who's not promising it? Or are you going to vote for the guy who's at least telling you that he's going to do the thing that you want to do? So you're kind of fucked there. You have to take a leap of faith. And that's why a lot of people don't vote. And I get it. But it's still one of the few tools we have. And what we have to do, I think, and this is what we try to do with Trump, is get outsiders who are not in the system. People that are willing to go in and take a fucking axe to the system and cut it down. And they got to be willing to risk your life, your reputation, everything to do that. It's a mission you might not survive, but we need people to start doing this shit locally, federally.
At Breitbart.
We got to go to war.
Because of his hatred, pure hatred of Donald Trump. You think those guys are going to dictate to anybody that's been in MAGA who's in or who's out or what you're doing, what your status is? We need to get the facts. We need to get the facts, particularly if now what Israeli public television says it may be a 2-week additional operation or some operation to actually seize, I don't know, Karg Island or somehow take physical control, which looks like more than a naval blockade or naval quarantine or some sort of escort operation with naval forces in the Strait of Hormuz. That, ladies and gentlemen, is going up the escalatory ladder. I'm not saying we don't have to do it. I'm saying maybe we even need to do it. And for Operation Security, I know there's certain things that you can't talk about and shouldn't talk about because people are in harm's way. However, there has to be kind of some understanding what's going on. And this is what's very important. President Trump is him making the case, not the war room and not Stephen K. Bannon. He's made the case on now half a dozen, and they've been kind of throwaway lines. But it's quite powerful because he's kind of a street guy. I mean, he thinks in a way that's very accessible to the common man and woman, and that is a unique talent. He's saying, no, he said yesterday, if we just pulled out, if I went through the military exercise and I went through the defanging and the decline that Captain Fennell, who's a targeteer, as part of the Naval Intelligence, actually does programs like this where you go in and strip down a military and destroy it.
Yeah, it's hard to take old Steve Bannon seriously after all the Epstein file stuff. But hey, if he's going to be against the war, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but infrastructure like this gets blown up. As of this moment, it will take at least a decade to recover from this war. And the truth is that the world's energy picture is probably changed forever. This single facility produced roughly 20% of global LNG supply, and as of 2011 had taken $70 billion to build. What makes this even worse is that Iran's strike on this was retaliation after Israel attacked their South Pars gas field, which draws from the same natural gas reservoir, which is the world's largest by far, about the size of Qatar itself. Heck, on the list of the 25 largest natural gas fields, this single reservoir holds roughly 40% of their combined recoverable reserves and is nearly 6 times bigger than the second biggest field in the world. And unlike many of the others on this list, it's only at 10% depletion, meaning 90% of the gas is still there. Which means that probably for many years, a huge share of the gas from the world's largest reservoir simply won't be extractable, as infrastructure on both sides, Qatar's and Iran's, has now been blown up. From a global energy supply perspective, we're deep into the worst-case scenario territory. Qatar Energy statement on missile attacks on Ras Laffan Industrial City. Qatar Energy confirms that Ras Laffan Industrial City this evening has been the subject of missile attacks. Emergency response teams were deployed immediately to contain the resulting fires, as extensive damage has been caused. All personnel has been accounted for, and no casualties have been reported at this time. So yes, get ready for gas prices to go again. Like I told you last time, go fill up. Be a good time to go get some gas right now. I know it's expensive, but it's just going to get fucking worse. Go fill up. White House officials are bracing for a dramatic rupture between Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. I sure hope so. Is Trump going to finally have a wake-up call? Maybe Don Jr. is fucking talking to him and be like, what are you doing? You're destroying our legacy. Stop listening to these fucking neocon idiots. This is not what MAGA is supposed to be about. And maybe he'll wake up and realize he was played, and then maybe we'll get a Donald Trump that wants vengeance. And is like, you know what? All of our deals with Israel, done. Israel, 100% tariffs on everything. I don't know, man. Crazier things have happened. Tel Aviv is under fire right now. This is a tragic situation, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure this has been confirmed. So people don't want to really talk about it, but Israel is getting hit pretty fucking hard as well. So I've said this before. I want the best for Israel. I want the best for all of humanity. In Israel, this warmongering is not good for you. And if you would stop the warmongering, it would be better for Israel and the future of Israel. So, yeah. But yeah, Iran's done, guys. We destroyed Iran. They have no more capability. We blew it all up. Okay, well, where are these missiles coming from then? So yeah, that was in Tel Aviv. From when was this? 5 hours ago, so that's from today. Trump has killed America. It was already dying, but the chimp has put the cushion over its face. Fed Chair Jerome Powell gives the bad news. There's effectively zero net job creation in the private sector. So that's the double whammy. So not only is the cost of living going to skyrocket, the amount of jobs being replaced by AI, there's not even going to be jobs. This is looking like a scenario that's going to be disastrous for America, the American people, because we're going to be going into a hyperinflation. At the same time, there's no jobs. You're all being replaced by robots and fucking AI.
The thing that I think good number of people on the committee are concerned about is just the very, very...
Even me, by the way. You think in 10 years they're not going to be able to fucking learn all of the data, capture every show I ever did, and literally just recreate the show with AI and be like, the AI just covers whatever current event. Like, this literally could be the same show you're seeing right now, but AI in 10 years. But that might be cool, because I mean, after I'm dead, the show could go on forever, just covering current events forever. That'd be interesting.
Very low level of job creation. If you adjust what has been the trend job creation over the past, let's say, 6 months, if you adjust that for what we think, our staff thinks, is the overstatement due to overcounting, effectively there's zero net job creation in the private sector. The thing that
That's not good. That's not good. Yeah, but keep up with the copium, guys. Yeah, unsubscribe. Goodbye. Go watch Mark Levine, you fucking loser. So yeah, this is gonna be good. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. No jobs, hyperinflation, neocons running the country, more wars, more propaganda, all lies. Can't trust anything the government says. It's great. We got a great future coming up, boys. Got a great future. We're 2 hours in. We're gonna go a little long. We're gonna be here. We'll go over some more shit that I got saved from today. But 64 likes if you guys are enjoying the show. Please give me a little thumbs upper if you can spare a quick second to do that. It's appreciated. Links are in the description if you want to support the show. Join the Discord, follow my second channel, etc., etc. Thank you guys for the support. But yeah, it's looking great. They're definitely not going to drop interest rates now too. So that, yeah, kiss that goodbye. Yeah, this is Nick Fuentes talking about Laura Loomer. What he says about Laura Loomer is hard to believe. Apparently, the first person Trump called after launching attacks on Iran was Laura Loomer. She's got to be sucking his dick, bro. She's got to be sucking his dick. I don't understand. It's not because
nobody has that kind of influence. Laura Loomer has it, and she's an idiot. She's literally an insane person. Have you ever heard her? Have you ever met her? She literally got 5150'd by her own family. She's a nut job. She's fucking crazy. She has emotional breakdowns constantly in public. Ugly crying, screaming, and yelling. And the president calls her, not you, not Mike Cernovich, not Jack Posobiec, not Andrew Torba, not any of these guys that were shucking and jiving and tap dancing and cooning for Trump, unpaid, well, as far as we know, maybe they were being paid for years. So it's not like nobody has that influence. It's not like nobody has that kind of clout or pull. You don't.
That's the sad thing. Like, you could be, really intelligent and fucking just earn your way up to that level where you should have a voice with the president, but you're not going to suck his dick. So sorry, Lori Loomer gets in, because she'll suck his dick before she gives her little spiel about how we need to go to war with Iran. I'm pretty sure. I don't think Melania is really into Trump anymore. I don't know. Here's another person who lived in this building. I'm a U.S. citizen and surgeon who took care of the Boston Marathon bombing victims in 2013. I paid for 7 years to own a small apartment in downtown Beirut for my 3 kids to enjoy summers there. Today, Israel reduced my dream home to rubble with American weapons paid by my taxes. In case you forgot, just watch it again. Yeah, that's going to end the war, ain't it? That's going to solve. What are we solving here? What are we solving here? Terrifying warning on live TV. If Iran keeps the Strait of Hormuz closed, the global economy will face an unprecedented collapse worse than 2008.
A disaster for him in many ways. One way is simply that if the Strait of Hormuz does not reopen properly for weeks or months, God forbid, the knock-on effect in a few months' time on the American cost of living of the average American, both at the gas pump, food prices, and so on, from that Strait of Hormuz being strangled for a sustained period of time, could be absolutely unprecedented and horrendous.
Let me make it worse for you. The 2008 collapse happened because we had sustained oil prices over $130 a barrel. The Western world is not built for $130 a barrel sustained. If this goes poorly, it will collapse the economy, and not just ours, but of the West. It is a massive
disaster.
Wow, at least fucking Beck knows that. That's nice to hear. Because it seemed like Beck was just fucking going to be another Hannity. Qatar's Ministry of Interior confirms it's still dealing with a fire in the Ras Laffan industrial area. So yeah, this is the one Iran hit. Yeah. That oil's not making it over here anytime soon. Iran military news. We have successfully struck Aramco's facility in Riyadh. So that's where we're at now. We decided the geniuses behind the decisions that Israel's doing in this war decided to start attacking Iran's oil production. So Iran is like, okay, we'll attack your oil production. And we all just get to sit here and go, okay, well, I guess we're fucked. We didn't vote for that. Did you vote for that? Iran has hit the world's largest liquefied natural gas export terminal in Qatar. Beautiful. Just in, Trump reportedly considering deploying troops to Iran's shoreline to secure the Strait of Hormuz. The news you get from this shit is so weird. Like 1 second it's like, oh, Israel, Netanyahu and Trump are falling out and blah, blah, blah. And then next is like, oh, there's going to be a fucking invasion, dude. It's like, which is it, bro? And it's kind of Trump's fault because he says both things. He says everything. He doesn't pick a side. It's just like one day he's this side, that side. It's like, dude, who the fuck knows? Here's a FedPal warning inflation is going to spike hard.
But the implications of events in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain. In the near term, higher energy prices will push up overall inflation, but it is too soon to know the scope and duration of the potential effects on the economy.
Well, that sounds good. Peter Ducey, as officials here try to figure out how to prevent the price of oil going up further, the Wall Street reports that President Trump wants the Israelis to stop attacking Iran's energy infrastructure for now. I heard that the one they did today was approved by us. So I'm guessing Trump approved it, and then Iran started hitting Saudi Arabia's oil, Qatar's oil, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe we shouldn't do that. Oh, this is becoming bad. I don't know, bro. Fucking, it's just so dumb.
And as officials here try to figure out how to prevent the prices of oil from going up.
We could literally elect a monkey as president and things would be going better. If Trump had done nothing except just fucking sat there and smiled for 4 years, things would be going better.
Up even further, there's an item crossing in the Wall Street Journal that President Trump wants the Israelis to stop attacking Iran's energy infrastructure for now. According to this report, President Trump could change his mind based on what the Iranians do or don't do in the Strait of Hormuz in the next couple days. Brett.
That's great. The Pentagon asked the White House today for more than $200 billion for the Iran war supplemental, sources say. Some White House aides think Congress won't support it. BC, it's too big. We'll tee up giant battle in Congress. Okay, so now they're asking for $200 billion. Yeah, this is going to end in 2 weeks, right, guys? It's going to end in 2 weeks. Steve Bannon, why are we back again with American forces?
Why are we back again with American forces? And yes, we can do it. And President Trump's looking at his alternatives. Remember today at the Intelligence of the Hammer, what did he know?
The hardest part about this clip is having to look at fucking Lindsey Graham for more than 2 seconds.
Oh, did he get briefed? Did he get briefed? Well, hey, man, CENTCOM and the Joint Staff is who's briefing for this. This is a military operation. Trump stopped during a time of war in a shooting war where, hell, we got 6 of our honored dead coming back to Dover at that very moment. You got to be hectoring people. You have to be hectoring people. And what do you see here now? Now, Mike Lee is going to come up at 8:30. We're supposed to be in.
Bro, Putin, you're asking what Putin's thinking while this is going on? I think Putin's loving it. Because we had to, like, remove sanctions from, like, I forgot, India or, like, all these countries that need to get oil from Iran. They have to now go to Russia, so we remove these sanctions. So Russia's like getting to sell more oil, and this is bad for America. They know it. China and Russia, if they were smart, they'd want this to drag on as long as possible, because the longer this drags on, the more it's going to hurt our economy, and the more the American people are going to wake up again, like they did in the past, to the bullshit of these fucking wars that we're always fighting, and we're just not going to have the stomach for it, which we don't already. Again, we didn't vote for this. We did not vote for neocons, but yet they're running the country.
We're supposed to be in.
So this is going to make, it's going to make a lot of people never want to vote for Republicans again, too. And the sad part is, you can say what you want about the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. There is a huge distinction between the two parties. The Democrat Party has superdelegates. It's really hard for an outsider to come up and be against the system and win the Democrat primary for presidency, because the superdelegates are never going to let that happen. The Republican Party, you can. You can literally have a communist win the Republican Party, and the Republican Party can't stop it. It's an open primary. The people decide who the fucking candidate becomes. So the Republican Party is the vehicle for which we can get an outside, non-fucking bought and paid for shill candidate into the presidency to maybe wage war against the corruption within our government. But a lot of people are it's probably going to be a while before people feel safe voting for a Republican again. Because they're going to be like, oh yeah, they're going to just do like Trump and tell us what we want to hear. And then as soon as they get in, they're going to be neocons.
The Save America Act. And you see that the Republicans, do we have a clip of Schumer? Did we get that? Doesn't exist? It didn't exist. Well, Schumer somehow said it. Reporters saying, hey, look, what do you guys talk about? We support.
And you guys, if you guys say vote, like don't vote or whatever, if you're not voting, you're just as responsible for this as the people who are voting. A no vote is a vote. So not voting, you think, oh, none of this is on my hands. No, you're just as responsible because you're sitting back and doing fucking nothing. So yes, get out and vote.
Voter ID. I happen to
locally as well. Show up to the fucking local elections. Get your fucking local area. Get your local legislator or whatever that you like. Like, get involved, bro. This is part of the problem why we're where we're at. Because so many people don't get involved and don't vote.
Believe deeply that this is because even though it may not be a full bore effort, and you don't see that sense of urgency, you do see people like Eric Schmidt up there and others that are making a very compelling case, one after the other, that this is 80% and the country's set up along the following to have just citizens vote. It's a pretty compelling argument. And I hear the counter from the Democrats, and it's kind of all over the map. I got Klobuchar saying, I mean, they really haven't picked a narrative of how to refute it, other than every woman in the world. It's going to be Handmaid's Tale.
I thought he was talking about the war. He's talking about the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act's not going to get passed, by the way. I doubt it. They don't give a fuck about the SAVE Act. They got Trump. They got all of his attention now on the war. So yeah, we're not going to have election security. We're not going to have voter ID. Basic common sense shit, and we'll probably never get it. Because a woman got married and now she's got a different name and now she'll never be able to. It's like, yeah, you can fix it. It's just extra paperwork, you fucking lazy piece of shit. They always use these. It's just like with abortion, you know. Oh, we can't get rid of abortion because, one woman got raped. And it's like, well, 99% of abortions have nothing to do with rape. But yeah, okay, because of this like tiny little fucking percentile of the situation, which is like, 1 out of a million is there because they got raped. And it's like, okay, so now we can't do anything about it. Okay.
Because no woman's going to be able to vote because, I don't know, you change your name and you got to go get a birth certificate and it's going to be a nightmare, which I don't think.
How does voting contribute to the problem? Okay. If you're not voting, you have no say in anything. So if you're not voting, you really can't even have you shouldn't even have a comment on politics if you're not willing to even vote. And a lot of it is you just don't want to be like me and be the guy that voted and like, now you look like an idiot because you voted for the guy who lied. At least I'm getting involved in fucking attempting to try to fix things in whatever little meaningless way I fucking can. But if you're not voting, you're a big part of why we're in this problem. You are. It's why a tiny percentage of this population can just run roughshod over all of us.
I think anybody buys, but that's what they're pitching. And then all of a sudden, right after the Intelligence Committee meets.
Yeah, I don't know what that clip was about. I don't, not all these clips are going to be fucking good. What is this one? You offered me, I miss Mullen. Yeah, something about Ron Paul. I don't know. I don't know enough about the FBI is investigating Joe Kent. Yeah.
I'm going to go. Sources are
They're going to try to lock this dude and Tucker up.
Saying that Joe Kent, the former director of the United States National Counterterrorism Center, this is from Semaphore, he just resigned. He's now under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. And the investigation predates his departure. Congressman, your reaction to that tonight? Wow.
Well, there's a lot.
It's not a coincidence, right? There's no coincidence here that he just happens to come out against the administration and kind of act like a whistleblower. And now all of a sudden, he's a terrible person. He did terrible things. So if this was the case, why didn't you do something? If you knew he was leaking, you left him there. So you have this leaker, this dangerous guy, and you leave him there and you do nothing. But then when he resigns, all of a sudden, he was a leaker. He was this, he was that. Yeah, it smells like bullshit to me. It smells like total fucking bullshit. And it's going to be, it's going to be Tucker Carlson that he was leaking to. And Tucker Carlson was then leaking back to Iran. Yeah, Tucker Carlson's a journalist. He's always been someone that's willing to go talk to the other side. He talked to Putin. Didn't he interview the supreme leader before he got killed? Like, that's what he does. But you can always fucking manipulate that to be like, actually, he's a spy feeding information to Iran and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I don't buy it. It's too convenient. All of a sudden, this guy comes out, calls you out for what we all know is going on, which is you were being fucking led by the nose by Israel. And now, he's a bad guy. He's leaking. He's off. Yeah, okay. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised, dude. I don't know if they'll actually successfully put these guys in jail, but they're going to come after him. I'm sure charges are going to be pressed on this guy and fucking Tucker.
And I think that we need to let this investigation play out, but we shouldn't tolerate any leakers in the administration, particularly regarding classified national security interests and information. So we'll let this play out and see where it goes. But if he was leaking, he ought to be held accountable just like anybody else would be.
Well, 5 minutes ago, he seemed to think that Iran was a big threat, and then suddenly that threat went away. It was very odd. Congressman, thank you.
Now, you can find clips of him 2 years ago saying the same fucking shit. And sometimes people's opinion evolves as they get more information. And who's going to get more information than the head of fucking counterterrorism? So whatever he went in there and saw, it kind of changed his mind. But yeah, he's a spy for, he's an Israeli, Iranian spy, and he's a leaker. Like, whatever, dude. You guys are playing fucking dirty, dude. You guys are playing dirty. Yeah, this is Barnes talking about what I was talking about earlier, which is like no one can get access to Trump anymore unless it's all positive. You cannot come in and go, hey, this policy is not working out. We need to change it. Or, hey, we need to, what are we doing with it? Like, it's all got to be dick sucking 24/7 or you have no access to Trump.
For the administration in order to get continuing access and frankly lie about what's happening with Trump. The people on the right and the institutional media and a lot of the influencer space are out there regurgitating the Fox News BoomerCon MIC slop when they know it's nonsense. The reality is President Trump used to be someone who understood the risk of Middle Eastern regime change war. President Trump used to be someone who would listen to others and try to get second, third, and fourth opinions. He no longer is. When I was up in D.C. in January, I was told by high-ranking officials in the Trump administration that they had been specifically told, do not share any negative information with the president. He only wants to hear things that he will interpret positively.
It also could be a way of controlling what information he gets. So like all these fucking neocons, they get in there, they know all of a sudden, hey, he's listening to us. We are the fucking power center here. And then anybody that wants to talk to him, don't say anything negative because you're going to fuck up what we got going on. Or possibly Trump's just lost his mind. And he just, yeah, maybe this is all Trump. It could all just be Trump.
If you share negative news, then you are at risk of being isolated from any degree of influence in the administration. That's how bad it is. Trump has developed memento memory. And that's why you've seen him say things that are just patently false. Provably false about this conflict in the first 2 weeks, contradict himself repeatedly, sometimes in the same statement.
Yeah, he referred to Gavin Newsom as the president of the United States.
Same times in the same post. I mean, you just saw it in the last 24 hours. President Trump went out begging for NATO assistance. All the other NATO allies said, no, thank you. And so what does he post today? Well, I never wanted anybody's assistance. Well, you're the one on record just asking for it 24 hours ago. This is the sort of delusional mindset that the president is currently in. He is going King Lear mad. That is the reality of it. Everybody up there knows it. Everybody connected to the administration knows it. Matt Boyle knows it. So he's out there lying, talking about, President Trump's known for his great listening skills. Well, just listen to what President Trump said today. What President Trump said today is that he doesn't want anyone around that disagrees with him about Iran. He publicly said it.
We're so fucked.
Quit pretending he wants to listen. Quit pretending he's a good listener. Quit pretending.
If this is really what's going on, we are so fucked. Because this is, I don't know, unless Trump has an epiphany, like he's going to keep walking us off this ledge. If this is true, and I believe it, then it's not looking good.
He's getting second, third, and fourth.
We might need to impeach him. I mean, Nick Fuentes might be right. We might need to go vote for Democrats just to get this fucker impeached and then start over. That's how bad it is.
Opinions. He's not. His own Pentagon told him the Straits of Hormuz would be closed. His own Pentagon told him that they would counterattack throughout our bases throughout the Gulf. So did the National Intelligence Report that is authored by Tulsi Gabbard and others that brings all of our intelligence together, told him there would be no regime change in Iran with this attack. And yet, what did he do? He just ignored it. And not only does he ignore it, he literally memory holes it. And, like the movie Memento, it disappears and vanishes into a form of amnesia.
Is that a good movie? I never saw Memento. I like the actor from Scream, whatever his name is, I forget. But I always avoided. I remember going to the video store, Blockbuster, and seeing Memento and just always passing it up. Just seemed boring from the photo, the cover of the VHS or whatever, the DVD. Is it worth it, Memento? Should I watch it, guys?
And instead of being sort of honest about all of this, instead he buys. That's why you see him say things that everybody knows are false. says nobody thought.
Now remember, guys, this is why I was talking about Stephen A. Smith. Because I saw the potential, because look, from the very beginning, there was a lot of warning signs with Trump. And then when I saw Stephen A. Smith as a Democrat talking about lowering taxes, talking about border security, sounding like a classical liberal, you better fucking hope, because whether you want to vote Democrat or not, you have to understand the Democrats are going to take over again. And you better pray to God that we get an idiot like Stephen A. Smith, who is a moderate Democrat and not a Hillary Clinton, Gavin Newsom, progressive / communist type. So pray to God that we get a Stephen A. Smith, as crazy as that sounds.
Thought they would attack our bases in the Gulf. Iran publicly said they would. What in the world are you talking about? Oh, no, everybody thought the regime would collapse. No, your own national intelligence report said no, it wouldn't. Nobody thought they would close the Straits of Hormuz. That's been part of the simulated strategy for conflict with Iran for 30 years.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. This explains a lot. If this is what's going on, it really does explain a lot. See, we saw all the Joe Kent stuff. I'm really starting to hate this smug prick. Something about this guy with his slick back hair. I fucking hate this guy now.
Yeah, right here. Mr. Secretary, you have said that the U.S. military has essentially aerial superiority, naval superiority over Iran, yet we're not escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Why? How did you not?
Thank you for asking that question, because I've been wondering that as well. We're the greatest military in the world. Iran's defeated. Why can we not lock down the Strait of Hormuz? Why are our destroyers not there fucking escorting ships through and showing our force and being like, you're fine, you're safe, we got you? Let's see what he answers.
Plan for this.
Thank you for the $1.49, Blop Jones. Thank you, brother.
We plan for it. We recognize it. Because ultimately we want to do it sequentially in a way that makes the most sense for what we want to achieve, and ensure that we're sending the right signals to the world when we do so. So
you're not answering the question. This is a bunch of gobbledygook bullshit. So I've had a theory that the reason that we're not doing it is because if we did it, they probably feel like we would lose ships for sure, because Iran can still hit the fucking Strait of Hormuz. And if we leave our destroyer just sitting there escorting people, it'll be our destroyers getting hit instead of these fucking shipping vessels, who they are like, oh, just go, don't worry, just go, don't be a pussy, take your $1 billion investment through those Strait of Hormuz. These people are so smart. They're like, you know what, let me talk to Iran and negotiate getting through, because some ships are getting through because they're communicating with Iran and pretending to be Chinese ships sometimes.
When Chris Wright speaks or we speak, it's based on a full assessment of what we're up against, what we want to say to the world, how that we want them to see and understand the conflict. It's like this whole idea of the war widening. That's what the press wants to make it look like it's widening and chaos is ensuing. No, we're actually closing in on grabbing hold of and controlling what objectives we want to achieve and how we want to achieve them. It's called shaping operations and setting the conditions. But when you shape the environment...
Oh, shut the fuck up and answer the fucking question, bro. It's a shaping... No. You're obviously not telling us something. And I think what you're telling us is that you guys are scared that you don't want to lose any of our ships, because that would be... I mean, imagine if like one of our destroyers got sunk by Iran. Imagine how embarrassing that would be for the Trump administration. So I think that's what it is. I think there's a risk that if we were to go into the Strait of Hormuz to help out, we'd be fucking hit with a missile or some shit, and it would be a fucking disaster.
You don't always tell. I mean, foolish political leaders and foolish military leaders of the past will hang an exact deadline on it. Or here's exactly when we'll do what we're going to do, or here's how long it's going to take us. And then if you meet that, maybe you meet it. But if you don't, you fail. And if you're far beyond, we know exactly what we're shaping and why. We're sending those signals working across the interagency. The Strait of Hormuz is something we've paid attention to from the beginning. And the American people can rest assured we will ensure that our interests are advanced.
Yeah, so you didn't answer the question. You're not fooling anybody with your fucking... He's looking more like Gavin Newsom, dude. I don't like this guy. I don't know what it is, man. He just rubs me the wrong way. And he's obviously another neocon that walked Trump into this fucking bullshit. Oh, boy, yeah, we already saw the Kent stuff. CIA Director John Ratcliffe disagrees with Joe Kent, who argued Iran posed no imminent threat on the United States in his resignation letter as head of the National Counterterrorism Center. Intelligence reflects the contrary. So who's the CIA puppet here? Is it Joe Kent or the actual CIA guy? I believe Joe Kent is doing what he thinks is the right thing. Because what is there to gain here short term? Long term, there might be a lot to gain because you got to remember how the Iraq war played out. Everybody that was against the Iraq war early on, they got fucking shit on. They lost careers. They lost, if you were the Dixie Chicks, like half of your audience turned on you. But then what happened over time is people woke up and realized, oh, those people were right. And they actually, got some shine from being on the right side of history. So, but short term, not smart. Long term, smart.
The head of the national
problem is people have too short of a memory now. Like there's so many things that people, when I say them, people will attack me and call me a fucking idiot. And then 2 weeks later, when it turns out I'm right, do those people show up and go, sorry, Pink Trip, you were right? No, they just move on and attack me for the next thing I say. And then the next thing, they just attack me. It's like, but then 2 weeks later, I'm proven right. People have no memory. They don't care. They don't care that you were right 2 weeks ago.
Counterterrorism Center resigned, saying that Iran did not represent an imminent threat to the United States. Is there anything to indicate that Iran had ceased in its nuclear ambitions or in its desire to continue to build ballistic missiles capable of threatening American
troops? Bro, at this point, like, say what you want about Kamala. Yeah, I would never vote for Kamala. If Kamala ran as an anti-war, I don't know. If it was neocons and Kamala being against war, that would be a hard decision. But at this point, Joe Biden's looking much like maybe the better president. Like, I'm thinking Joe Biden was fucking better than Trump at this point, because at least Joe Biden didn't get us bogged down in stupid shit. I thought Joe Biden would. I thought we would be fucking ratcheting up Ukraine, but he did, support Ukraine. Well, of course, Trump's continuing to do that, so whatever. But yeah, this is going to be more disastrous than what Biden gave us if this continues, dude. Trump's going to be a laughingstock. The Democrats, because George Bush became anti-Trump, the Democrats tried to rebuild Bush's image to make him oh, he's not bad, blah, blah, blah. The reality is Bush was one of the worst fucking presidents of all time. Trump is going to probably outdo him if he continues down this route.
Troops and allies in the Middle East?
Senator, no. In fact, the intelligence reflects the contrary.
So you disagree with Mr. Kent?
I do.
I would think any fair-minded assessment of the situation, even based on open sources, would reflect the danger the regime poses to the United States. The head of the national...
Yeah, so I guess we got a little CIA war here. White House on Joe Kent. This individual who was not involved in any of the discussions pre-operation and throughout this operation. Yeah, because the neocons knew to keep him out because he wasn't going to play ball with their fucking war plans.
Caroline, there was news yesterday when Joe Kent, who works for Tulsi Gabbard over at the DNI, a political appointee, said he could no longer stay in his job. He was resigning over the Iran war. So he had objections. When is the last time he saw President Trump?
John, for the last time, I love you, brother. Do never feel bad about not donating. That goes for all of you guys. The economy sucks. I understand. And it's going to get worse. So what I always say is what I'd like is if everybody that's a regular viewer of the show, if you can afford it, just chip in the little bit amount that you can afford. And if everybody chips in a little bit when they can afford it, then we're good. And the show's funded. But if you can't, do not feel bad for it for 1 second, because I understand. Also, John, I don't want to take your money, man. Keep your money, brother. We all love you, John. Just the fact that you're here, gracing us with your presence, John, is enough. Is so much of a reward. So we all love you, John. Don't worry about it. But anybody else who does want to support the show, it's much appreciated. By the way, almost at 100 likes. If you want to tap a little tappy tap on the like, that's appreciated.
It's been a while since the president has seen him here at the White House. It's been a while since he's been involved in the process of the presidential daily briefs, and he's been actually present for the president's intelligence briefings. This was an individual who is not involved in any of the discussions.
She's not hot anymore. She's ugly as fuck now. you noticed
Adele
that?
Underscore Yeffa 67 super chatted $10 for John.
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you for the $10 super chat, John. So yeah, John, people are super chatting on your behalf, bro.
Super chatted $1.99. The show is funded by John.
Dude, what would we do without John? Thank you, guys. Thank you, John. Thank you, brother. People are donating on your behalf, John, because that's how much we love you around here, buddy. Hope you're doing good. Thank you, guys. Specifically, John, thank you so much for the support.
Pre-operation and throughout
Thank you, guys.
this operation. I think the president views it as deeply unfortunate that this individual, who the president gave the privilege of working for the administration, put out this resignation on government letterhead with many falsehoods throughout.
At Arkanoa super chatted $5.
John, do you have a message you can put in there for him? Thank you, Arkanoa. That's a new name. I recognize a new name there. Nice. Thank you, Arkanoa, for the 5, brother. Thank you. But yeah, is it just me or is she getting uglier now? I don't know, something about like being a pro-war neocon piece of shit that kind of lowers your... She was like a 7, now she's like a 4. I'd still hit it, though.
Actually accusing the president of being manipulated by foreign governments. That's laughable and it's insulting. President Trump has been remarkably consistent on this issue of Iran for many, many years. Long before he ever entered politics, he has always said Iran can never possess a nuclear weapon. So anyone who works here should be well aware of the president's intentions and his peace through strength.
Well, then you shouldn't have killed the guy running the country who had a fucking policy in place for not to pursue nuclear weapons. How does that make sense? They could never have a nuclear weapon, so let's murder the guy that's keeping them from having a nuclear weapon. Who's also a religious leader like a pope who's going to radicalize Muslims across the country against us. Oh, dude. It's so frustrating. Like, I'm not a fucking genius, bro. I think my IQ is like 116 or something. I'm like normal fucking, I'm not some fucking genius level guy. And it's so frustrating to see such idiotic decision making from our leadership that it's like, I don't know, dude. I just want to slam my head against the wall sometimes.
Agenda and his willingness to use the United
What's up, Flatman B?
At Flatman Official super chatted $2. Been a supporter of yours a while, glad to help.
Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Military to achieve peace if and when necessary, as we have seen throughout Operation Epic Fury.
There are some reports that
Yeah, so basically, look at that stupid face. Look at that stupid fucking face. Ah, dude. JD Vance is attacking Joe Kent now. And I thought JD Vance and Kent were close because, like, JD Vance, Kent, Tucker, like, they're all friends, supposedly. I wonder how JD Vance feels about this. He's got to be really unhappy. He's got no choice. He's the VP. He's like, I got to just support the president. That's my job. If the president wants me to shoot myself, I'll do that because I'm a good little loyal servant. But he's got to realize his future is just dwindling away right now. Like, there is no political future for you. You're going to run and lose. First of all, it would have been so fucking difficult for you to win in the first place. And now it's going to be nearly impossible. So sad for JD Vance.
3 weeks ago. Now, you ask about Joe Kent. Now, I know Joe Kent a little bit. I like Joe Kent. You heard the President of the United States say yesterday that he likes Joe Kent, too. But it's one thing to have a disagreement of opinion. I know the president very well. He welcomes differences of opinion. He likes it when people express their...
Yeah, I don't buy this. I mean, I just heard the exact opposite 10 seconds ago, buddy. This sounds like a bullshit talking point to me.
...views about what should happen. He listens to everybody. It's one of the great things I like about him is that whether you're the gardener at Mar-a-Lago or whether you're the Secretary of the State, the president cares about what you think about an issue.
Unless you're the head of counterterrorism, and then you don't get to have a voice because you're against the war. You're full of shit, JD Vance. This is total bullshit. There's no way this is true.
He recognizes that everybody has smarts and everybody has wisdom. That said, whatever your view is, when the President of the United States makes a decision, it's your job to help make that decision as effective and successful as possible. And so the president said this yesterday, if you are on the team and you can't help implement the decisions of his administration, he has the right to make those decisions, then it's a good thing for you to resign. And I think that's exactly right. It's fine to disagree, But once the president makes a decision, it's up to everybody who serves in his administration to make it as successful as possible. That's how I do my job, and I think that's how everybody in the administration should do their job too.
Well, you failed, fuckhead. You failed. You should have pushed back more. You should have threatened to resign. You should have threatened whatever you had to do to get Trump to wake the fuck up and not go into another stupid war that you know is stupid. You know it. Look at that face. You know it. You know you fucked up. You know your career's over. Go make another movie about poor white people, okay? That's what you need to do. CNN's Jake Tapper accuses Joe Kent of anti-Semitism. Here we go. Kent's resignation letter blames Israel for the war in Iran, blames Israel for the war in Iraq, blames Israel and its supporter for ISIS, for the war on ISIS in Syria. How did somebody like this? Blah, blah, blah.
Joe Kent resigned today. He says Iran posed no imminent threat to the United States. He blamed the war and also the war in Iraq and also the U.S. war against ISIS in Syria. He blamed all of it on pressure from Israel and the pro-Israel lobby. Kent's letter also, first of all, before he was confirmed as director of the NCTC, he faced Senate opposition because of ties to white supremacists and anti-Semites. His letter blames Israel and absolves Trump, blames Israel for the war in Iran, blames Israel for the war in Iraq, blames...
You see, like, everybody gave me shit because I said, look, I think Nick is smart. I think he's funny. But what he's doing is going to be used to attack anybody that's critical of Israel as an anti-Semite. And they're going to point to Nick Fuentes and they're going to be like, yeah, they're all Fuentes followers, they're Groypers, they're white nationalists, they're this and that. And Nick Fuentes legitimizes a lot of that shit. Because the normie retards who follow Mark Levine, they listen to Fuentes talk about world Jewry and use all the language you're not supposed to use. And they're like, oh, we must have this guy's huge. Everybody listens to him. We must have a huge anti-Semitism problem. And then people like me who don't give a fuck about Jewish people, like I want the best for Jews. I don't care. I don't judge people by their religion or whatever. I judge people as individuals. And I try to call out Israel for being a warmongering piece of shit who is hurting our country in the world, and I get called an anti-Semite. And it's believable because retards see Nick Fuentes and they just assume it's all anti-Semitism. Any criticism of Israel is just anti-Semitism now. I don't know if that's on purpose. I don't know if Nick is a Fed and he's playing the game, but dude, it's very convenient.
Israel and its supporters for ISIS, for the war on ISIS in Syria. And I think there are a lot of people today wondering, how did somebody like this get a position like this in government given his anti-Semitic views?
A legitimate question. I'm personally glad he's gone.
So speaking out against the regime that you work for because you witnessed Israel misleading our president into going into a stupid war, that means you're anti-Semitic now. If you're against any war Israel does, you're an anti-Semite. If Israel murders your grandma and you have a problem with it, you're anti-Semitic. If Israel kills your 6-year-old boy as he's playing soccer in the field and you have a problem with that, you don't like Israel's policies, well, you're an anti-Semite. This is fucking insane, dude.
NCTC is very...
At Flatman Official super chatted $2. I'm sorry to say I don't trust Alex Jones anymore, clinking glasses.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way, Flatman Be Official. Thank you for the 2. I trust Alex. I don't think Alex is bought and paid for. I really don't. But everybody's got their own opinions on that.
Very important operation that connects the dots to protect the American people, particularly right now in a high state of terror alert. This anti-Semitism that we've traditionally seen on the left, we're now seeing it a little bit on the right side here. He's not the type of individual I personally would want to appoint to that position, given his anti-Israel views and his quite frankly, president views now.
Joe Kent resigned.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that they do this. It really is. It's unbelievable to me, dude. Yeah, here's the famous poll, guys. 100% approval. MAGA GOP view of Trump. A 100% approval.
Birds super chatted $1.40. Oh, why yes, to Vase comrade.
Thank you, Birdsheed. Birdsheed. Is that the way you say it? Birdsheed? Thank you for the $2. Oy vey. Oiveus of Vase, comrade. Thank you for the $2, brother. But yeah, I mean, apparently, look, everybody supports the war, dude. Everybody's behind it. Yeah, it's not unpopular. This is just bullshit. It's straight up bullshit. Okay? If you have eyes, you have ears, you know this is bullshit. Okay? But this is the shit they're pushing on you now. 100% approval rating, guys.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you look at the polling data and there are numbers that just jump off the screen at you, and this is one of those. Because just take a look here. MAGA GOP view of Trump. Approve 100%. 100%.
And who did we poll? Just one person, Mark Levine.
If you are a member of MAGA and the GOP, you approve of Donald John Trump.
I guarantee you CNN knows that this is going to destroy Trump. I mean, CNN, don't forget who CNN is. Okay, they may be like, you know, because it's war and they like war, they may seem like they're a little more friendly to the Trump administration. They know this is going to lead to Democrats taking power. So if they can convince MAGA to go along with this bullshit, they can basically kill off a movement that they really want to see go away. I don't know. It's fucking retarded. By the way, it's an NBC poll. So yeah, I know it's an NBC poll. It's not CNN. NBC's the same fucking story. It's the same story. They want the death of this MAGA movement and what it was supposed to represent, which is a war on the corruption within our government.
0% say that they disapprove. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know you can't go higher than 100%. He is the 1972 Miami Dolphins. Yeah, you know.
Okay, buddy. Whatever you say, dude. Yeah, this is more about Mark Levine. Accountability, crucial. Shut the fuck up.
Tulsi
Fucking
Gabbard,
retard.
Director of National Intelligence, will be testifying this morning. Does the president...
She had work done on her face, didn't she? She's got that look like she had her lips done or some shit.
still have full confidence in her?
He does, yes, and we look forward to watching the director's hearings today. And I think that anyone who has been suspected of leaking or...
I don't know what it is. She's looking fat to me. She used to look hot. Now she looks like a fat little piggy. You look like a fat little piggy. Fat little warmongering piggy.
Or is
I'd still hit it though.
Proven to be a leaker will not be welcome in this administration. I know that for a fact because I've heard the president say it myself. There are investigations underway into leakers in this administration, and people will be held accountable for that. It's unacceptable and it cannot be tolerated.
As you just Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh yeah, just put the hot blonde. Let her go to all the dudes are going to listen to her. Yeah, Asmongold. Somebody put together a little compilation of Asmongold being against this shit, and then all of a sudden he flipped. I did see he put out a video today responding to this, and essentially he says what made him change his mind was watching the Iranian civilians who came out to protest, who then got murdered. Like the claims are like 30 to 40,000 of them were killed by the Iran regime, and so that made him change his mind. So now he's for forever wars and destroying our economy.
Israel's wars are not our wars. True. Oh my God. I think that we play too big of a role in other countries' military shit. Like, we're too interventionary. We get too...
Somebody asked a question, says, Ping, if you get a girlfriend, will you stop doing streams? No. And you wouldn't even know whether or not I had a girlfriend, okay? Unless she was an online influencer posting about shit, which I try to avoid those type of women. Okay, I like women that don't have a social media profile, that aren't sharing pictures and sharing their life and look at me. Like, I do a show, but go look at any of my social media pages. Am I sitting there posting about my private life and taking pictures of it? No, I don't. I do my show. I talk about current events, but I like to keep my private life private, which most people that, are on the internet should take that stance. Too many people are just like sharing everything about their lives, and it's like, no one cares, dude.
Involved into other people's business. It's a waste of our money. The people there probably fucking hate us. Where's really the upside here?
And they exist. It's hard. It's hard to find a woman who's not on social media posting every second of her life. but they do exist.
Right? I think that the level that we try to play nation building, especially in places like this, like, you know, like Libya, for example, back in the day, or Iraq. No, absolutely not. Yeah, it's too much, man.
We're not going to have World War III, but I will prevent World
In my opinion, keeping us out of World War III means not sending over bombs and starting wars in the Middle East. Like, that's just me. I also wouldn't support any sort of collateral civilian damage, bombing things, like the U.S. bombing things that are inside of urban areas. I don't support any sort of, you know, boots on the ground. I don't support I don't even support the U.S. like going directly to war with Iran's military. I think any further military intervention stands to alienate the Iranian people, and it stands to destabilize the country. And you can see how CNN passively manufactures consent to bomb Iran by assuming that Iran is attacking civilian places only. Like, for example, one of the biggest military installations inside of Israel is in the middle of the city. And do you guys see how the media is pushing the war by saying that Iran is this existential threat and we need to fight for America? This is upsetting for me. Big deal. If this was the U.S. bombing Iran, I'd be saying, fuck. I am so happy this has happened. I am just dramatically, tremendously happy this has happened. I was a big supporter of us bombing them before, and now we're bombing them again, and this is just amazing.
This is an operation.
That's one way to put it. Oh, this is just amazing. I mean, I don't know. The people are saying he follows his audience and he's got a bunch of boomers, I guess. I don't know why boomers would be watching Asmongold. Maybe he is audience captured, but he's also probably just falling for the emotional manipulation, dude. It's what they did during the early Iraq war. It's what they're doing now. Yeah, just like, oh, isn't this sad? Look at these people. They're suffering. And, oh, he's Saddam Hussein is shooting chemical weapons off on his own people and killing his own people. And it's like, yeah, it is sad. But then as you get older, you realize, dude, there's a million billion sad things happening right now that I can't stop or control. And if I want to go and fucking, you know, be the guy that's got to fix every problem in the world, then we're never going to fix our own problems at home. So yeah, I don't know. That's why they use the emotional manipulation, because it works.
Against the world's largest sponsor of terror.
That's right. This is amazing. Every third world shithole that promotes these terrorist ideologies, death cult fucking religion, is getting...
Yeah, the song is Flight of the Bumblebees. It's one of the greatest musical pieces of music ever created in the history of mankind. Classical music, we like to talk about the music in the 90s and the music in the 80s and the music in the 70s. The greatest music ever created was created hundreds of years ago. Okay? We haven't topped that yet.
Demolished. Oh, a school got bombed? It's collateral damage in a war, and it's inevitable, number one. And number two, if they didn't want that to happen, maybe they shouldn't have been funding terror groups and antagonizing a world superpower like America.
Oh, he's even laughing at the stupid fucking memes. The stupid memes they put out where they're like making it funny that they're bombing and killing people. It's real funny when you hit a school full of children, female girls, a girls' school. That's real funny, right? Real funny, a bunch of dead kids.
Man, how about that? This is great.
Yeah, that literally made him laugh. The stupidest fucking meme ever. Oh, the Mountain King. Yeah, sorry, I got it wrong. I confused it with Flight of the Bumblebees. It's an easy mistake. It's an easy mistake to make. That's one thing. I love classical music, but I don't know the names of like 80% of the songs. Like one of my favorite ones, it took me forever to learn. It's was it Mozart? It's Ike Klein music, like nighttime music. Ike Klein music, like the names are a little hard to remember. They're not cool like now where it's like, you know, the names are cool and easy to remember. It'd be like the 9th fucking falsetto or what is it? The 9th symphony part, blah, blah, blah. It's hard to remember the names of a lot of classical songs. You just buy the schoolgirl thing? Will you just buy the not the schoolgirl thing, Rob K? Even our own military says it was us, bro. Our own investigations say it was us. And you don't buy it? Our own military's lying? Okay. I guess. I mean, it's up to you if you want to not believe it or not. That's your choice, bro. 4 likes away. I almost feel like I don't want to leave till we hit 100 likes because we're so close. You guys, you want me to leave? If you want me to leave, then get me to 100 likes and I'll get out of here. Nah, good show, guys. Thank you. I'm glad you guys showed up. It was looking a little rough at the beginning. I was like, I guess the algorithm's coming down on all the anti-war shit, which is probably going to happen. Because again, YouTube, you know, everybody likes to be angry at YouTube, but I always wonder how much of what YouTube is doing is because they're at the mercy of the government. And yeah, clearly the government's not going to like the anti-war voices right now. As you can see with what they're doing to Tucker and old Joe Kent. So much love, everybody. We'll see you. I'll try to be back tomorrow. I was thinking about doing a gaming stream tonight, but it's already going to be 1 a.m. So one of the days this week, maybe on the weekend, we'll do a gaming stream and I'll play some Counter-Strike too. Somebody was talking massive amounts of shit in the comment section saying, you could have never been a Counter-Strike pro if you're getting domed by bronzes. First of all, I'm not playing bronzes. I'm playing Premier. I'm unranked. And like the first matches, it set me up with people like in the 20,000 ratings. Okay? And yes, if you don't play a game, like I was Cal Invite in 2005. That was the pro level of Counter-Strike. I went to CPL. We beat a Cal Invite team in 2004. Team Super was the team I was on. And then we got invited into Cal Invite, which was the top league in Counter-Strike in North America. Yeah. And then I quit playing around 2006 for like 12 years. And then I played for like a couple months in 2018, put it back down. 2023, I played for like a couple months, put it back down, and then I'm picking it up again. So it's like, I'm not very fresh in playing the game, and all these fucking dudes who are grinding every day, they're of course going to be better than me. Okay? And it's not silvers. If I was playing bronzes and silvers, I'd be dropping like 20 to 30 fucking kills every game. I wish I was playing bronzes and silvers because that would be fun. So fuck you. Whoever said that, 1v1 me, and I will fuck you up. You pick the map. You pick the map. Any gun. 1v1. I will drop you like the little bitch you are. Okay? So yeah, I'll be playing some Counter-Strike 2 on stream here soon. So much love, everybody. You know what? No. You know what? I'm going to prove it because I have the video. Because I was at CPL Winter 2004 and Godfrag, who was the one covering Counter-Strike, because the pro scene, nobody gave a fuck about it back then. Okay? It's not like now where they make tons of fucking money. We made nothing. We did it for the love of the game. What was it? CPL Winter 2004. Let me see. It should be one. I forget which one it was. Day 2 Thursday, I think. I think this is it. Hold on. Yep, this is the one. Okay, you guys are going to have to watch. This is me from, what is this, 2022 years ago. 22 fucking years ago, okay? And you can see how beautiful I was as a young man. Oops. Fuck. Hey. Gotta get this off the stream. Oh, dude. Where'd it go? I fucking lost it. Are you kidding me, bro? Thought I moved it over, but it just disappeared. Where did it go? Okay, whatever. It's in my history. I can just pull it up again. Fuck. CPO Winter 2004. 2004 Thursday. Day 2 Thursday. Okay. Let's try this again. Hopefully it'll work this time. Why not? I'm gonna prove to people. Dude, what the fucking hell, bro? Can you please just move over the fucking tab, dude? Every time I try to move over the tab, it just disappears on me. But everything's fucking, yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful, dude. We're gonna do this one more time. I think I'm having an issue with my, fuck it. We're gonna do it over here. We're just gonna do it over here. Because every time I try to move the tab over here, it doesn't work. Day 2 Thursday. Okay, here we go. This is again from 2004. I was 22 years old at the time. And this team, we were playing our sports. They were a Cal Invite. We were a Cal Premier team at the time, which was the league right below Invite. And I forgot how. I think 2 out of the 3 of the last seasons we had won the championship in Premier. but because we had never played on a LAN, because we were all across the country spread out, like that we couldn't get the invite to Cal Invite. So finally we fucking got together for the CPL. We beat a Cal Invite team, and then we got invited to Cal Invite. Let's go. Oh, look at that. Who's that? Who's that beautiful man right there? Who's that beautiful fucking red? Look at that. I got so much pussy, dude. Sklade. I hope he's good. Sklade. How you? 22 years ago. Some of these guys might not even be alive. This was our star player, Nick Snake. He was toxic as fuck. Let me tell you something. This guy absolutely must love Nick Fuentes. There's no way this guy doesn't love Nick Fuentes, okay?
All right.
Let's just say he dropped a lot of N-bombs, okay?
Gets off to a good start taking the first round, but Snake and Sklade lead a comeback for Team Super, with Snake putting up 22 frags at the half. Vault keeps things going for Team Super with a great pistol round. He adds to it, finishing
Yeah, it's blurry because it was 2004, dude. We were uploading shit in like 360p.
with a final score 11-3. The final score for Team Super was 16-6.
This is the old Counter-Strike. This is when Counter-Strike was fucking amazing. It hasn't gotten better than this. I'm sorry, the CSGO, CS 1.2, they fucked the game up. The game used to be so fucking great, dude. And now it's like, I don't know, they noobified it. Like everything else they do, they make it to where noobs that are new don't get so overwhelmed. But the skill gap used to be fucking insane with this game. Because the movement was so important. You couldn't just run around and shoot like an idiot. Like you had to be real precise with your movement. And the guns felt better back then. They felt so much better. Yeah, this is Nick. That's Volk. I think he got an ace on the pistol round, Volk. He's still around. I have arguments with these guys to this day because I remember for this fucking map, I was the guy that fucking was the strat call. I was basically calling the strats. I came up with all the strats and I was calling them, and that's why I was sitting in the middle. But they fucking are trying to gaslight me and say I wasn't calling the strats for this fucking game. I know I was calling the strats for this game. And by the way, there's no doubt about it, we were the sexiest fucking Counter-Strike team at that time. See, there's me telling Nick what to do. Snake. Dude, it annoys me. Robbie, you want to pretend Robbie's a Sade. He was like the guy who started the team. Good guy. But he wants to gaslight me and say I wasn't calling strats. I know I was fucking calling strats, Robbie. I remember. My memory's not that stupid. See, that was me. Look how good I was. I didn't even need to see you to shoot you. Look at that. No, I was good at little cheeky angles, bro. This guy had no idea. You're dead. That was me. You can't see the name. It's all blurry, but that was me. Let me see. Is this all the way up? Yeah, 360p. That's 2004. This was high fucking quality right here. Yeah, that's what we used to say if you got 20 kills. It was a big deal. Nick was really good, but his ego got in the way. The thing with Nick, this is Nick Snake, the best player on the team, but his ego was a fucking problem. One of the things with Counter-Strike is like, you can be a better team if with lesser skilled players, if everybody's a fucking team player and like got a good attitude and knows their role, because team play will outdo fucking, oh, I'm such a good aimer, any day of the week. And he would just get so fucking toxic, bro. So toxic. I remember so many nights when we were screaming that it would just turn into a shit show and we'd get nothing accomplished. See, that was kind of newbie to just spam your deagle like that. And here's me clutching up to win the game. I think it was a 3v1 I won to fucking to put us over the top. It wasn't even close, like 16-6. And by the way, we fucking hated these guys. SK, we scrimmed them a lot. They were dickheads. We were so happy to kick their ass because they always accused us of cheating. No, I think this is 1.6 at this point. I don't remember, dude. It was 2004, whatever it was in 2004. I think it was 1.6. And here's me. Yeah, this is the gayest part. This is the gayest. It's so gay. It's okay. You can get a little gay when you win sometimes. But I'm just that strong and that manly. I was like, let me pick him up. Let me pick him up. Dude, I wish I still had that shirt, dude. I wish I still had that shirt. What was the shirt? Any black shirt works for me. I remember, I think it was this night after, like, because we were at that, I forgot what hotel it is downtown, right by the big ball or whatever. That's where they put on the CPL. And I remember that night, I got Nick high in the hotel bathroom. And he was so fucking goofy, dude. He was like you know how sometimes you get people high and they just act real fucking weird? He was one of those types. And then they try to blame me because we got our ass whooped the next day by some D Sky was the name of the team. They were like not an American team because at that point, most of the American teams couldn't compete with like the Swedish teams. Like the European teams were way ahead of us, dude. And then we got on Inferno and played D-Sky and they just whooped our ass 16-1. It was such a disaster. I think if it would have been a different map because, I don't know, we just didn't have good strats with Inferno. It would, you know, maybe a different, that's the thing with Counter-Strike. You can play one game and lose, get completely stomped, and then the next game you stomp them. It just happens sometimes. That's why they do best of 3 now or best of 5 and shit. But back then there was no that. It was just one game, you lose, you're out. But yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I was a pro. Suck my dick. Yes, I'm not that great anymore because this was 2004, 22 fucking years ago. Okay? And I moved on with my life. I didn't play it every day of the last 22 years. But that guy's still there. I can still get that good if I want to. My reflexes are still fucking off the chart. Even though I'm old, I still have better reflexes, response time than most people. So being gay for the good times in 2004 was straight as fuck. It's only gay if you push back. No, we didn't fuck. There was, yeah. Nick used to be a model. He was like I don't know where, I think it was he was a model for like Colgate or some shit. He did like fucking commercials because his teeth I forgot what it was. He was a model. And he brought back like 2 chicks with him. One was like really fine, and then the other one who was kind of mid looking was like trying to hook up with me. So I was like, we had some fun, but we really should have got to sleep early and taken the next day seriously. But we were just so happy that we beat a Cal I team because we knew since we beat a Cal I team, there was no way they weren't going to finally give us a fucking invite into Cal Invite. And then we went, and it was a lot of fun. Playing Cal Invite was a lot of fun. Anyway, take care, everybody. Yeah, I just wanted to show that because somebody was talking shit in the comments. Okay? I was a pro at Counter-Strike when you probably weren't even born, bitch. Okay? And if you want to 1v1 me, you know where I'm at. Come get me. Come get me, okay? How high was this in the rankings? Did this in dope, you did, yeah. How high was this in rankings? This is CPL. So back then, it was different back then. Back then, you had Cyber Amateur Athlete League or whatever it was called, CAL. Okay, and that was the online leagues, right? And at this point, you had Cal Open was you had Cal Open, Cal Intermediate, Cal Main, Cal Premier, and then Cow Invite. If you were the top of the top, you'd get invited to Cow Invite. That was considered like pro in America. And yeah, we didn't do very well at the CPL. We beat a Cow Invite team, so that was like enough for us to get into Cow Invite. Okay, but other than that, we got stomped by everybody else. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. And I don't know, if we would have got an easier bracket, we could have probably gone farther. But that one team, man, they had all the strats. They had it all down pat for Inferno. We just couldn't compete. Pierce Morgan is a douchebag. I agree. Pierce Morgan's a douchebag. All right, guys. See you on the next one. Much love. Take care. Have a great night, guys.
Please subscribe and hit the like and ring that bell if you want notified. Here's some other videos to watch that you might like or you might not. Have a great day, my internet friend. I hope I'll see you once again. Please subscribe and hit the like and ring that bell if you want notified. Have a great day, my internet friend. I hope I'll see you once again. Please subscribe and hit the like and ring that bell if you want notified.